Potrzebuję.
Forty-one place. Good result, your friend in Macedonia. In so. It's okay?
Maybe he wants to play.
Well, looks great. Looks great. This guy looks great. Nie zapraszam.
Maybe he wants to play, no? You want to join? No, it's an election. But no rake.
Where is your favorite poker place? In Europe?
5-5.
Barcelona?
You join? Okay, one more player.
I love
I'll have to pick the
Ah, yeah, but you can sit here, yeah.
Give me 15 minutes, I'll be here.
Okay, take your time. I'm looking like that, you play.
I want this girl must play. Yeah, you.
But if you see someone who want to look at the table, no, but okay, like if you see someone look at the table, maybe try to make him join. Like a
You want person? It is a really situation when you have a video stream. You don't have a player. This is my dream.
I know, but I organize the
Few players want this situation. I think.
the organization. I don't want to push much because I was not sure the time.
Okay. Are you playing night or not?
Maybe I will play the main.
Maybe tomorrow.
Depend of when it's time.
When we
No smoking now.
he can't buy alcohol because he don't have anything. Oh, really? Nice, sorry. Cheers. Cheers. Lady, go out. You not pay, you not play. No problem, go. Yesterday, no. Yesterday I left my hand. I have a 500 more, and I have a 570 75, and I give 75. I tell I give 75 and all in, and I go home. And this is a problem. I must go take all in all. I don't see my card.
Anyone.
Two-player call in my hand. I don't know what in flop. Ace, queen, jack. What do you think what I have?
Ace, queen, jack.
What do you think what I have?
King 10.
And I got out and bye bye guys, go. I go. I don't know.
2 hours max. 1, 2 hours.
How long?
I mean, start or finish? Start.
Start?
5 minutes. I think
This
so.
is no problem? Bratislava is okay or? Yeah? You eat something good? You like eat? Yeah?
I ate breakfast.
In casino. It's
But
really good eat, yeah. But if you want eat something good, I love Bratislava burger. The next is Roxor. Treats with rosemary is crazy, really
Last night.
Only this, or you play in the main? Maybe one more? One? Yeah? Okay, that's it. Where are you come back to Japan? Monday. Okay. You can win my favorite tournament and go to home. This is no problem. This, yeah?
I joined.
Great. You are first time in Europe?
Yeah.
And what opinion? Crazy. Japan is a really organized nation. Really all in one finger. But Europe, not this. Great.
Yeah, sure, honey.
We produce my factory. We produce aircraft. Two-player aircraft. Maybe I can see. Give me a moment. Our product.
You have a date. Do you know when we start?
Right? It's our production, my father production. This is a crazy guy. Crazy guy. Ty, organizacja idzie Salmielec, kurwa. Czyli leżymy.
Okay. Can you, Julieta? Can you cut?
Let me double check.
What happened?
Dzisiaj nie gramy.
Travel for three.
After you took that photo, after you were supposed to start, but then they say, oh,
Okay. For me, this is not
sorry,
problem. I agree.
yeah, one will be there, everything will be
This is the problem for me.
sorry for getting
All good? Can you put this in there? Yeah.
You can start now.
How do you know? He said. Okay, we can start. Call Kamran.
Yeah. Yeah, they can.
We are starting, yeah?
Coming in 30.
Okay.
We start off with a bumper.
Bumper? No.
Ah, the bumper.
You can start, no?
Yeah.
Okay.
Looking at the live stream, the hands afterwards are what?
They play. Thank you very much for sitting like that now. Yeah, that's a good way. Yeah, maximum for me.
Якщо немає нарешті, роздавати і кров. Мусимо роздавати. Добре.
You want to join?
Too many pros.
No one is pros. No, it's an MTT pro. Don't play cash game.
They only need big fish.
Come on, Kiko.
I'm going this.
Okay, you can join. Good.
А де буде зараз big plan?
No, let's. No. You play, it's okay. Cash game. Start, okay. You are Nico. Start like that.
Welcome back to the world famous card casino in Bratislava, Poker Festival 2024. Jam-packed schedule of events mean lots of final tables for your viewing pleasure this week. Kicking things off, of course, earlier it was the 500 mystery bounty, 100k guarantee, won by a local man, Martin Ivslaski, who, it must be said, annihilated all comers, walking away with 40% of the prize pool. But now we've got a 5-5 cash game sponsored by KK Poker, featuring none other than Irishman Paul Carr on your screen. I'm David Lappin. I'm joined by Darrow Carney. Darrow, welcome.
Thank you, David. Yeah, we can see Paul there on screen. Paul, known as Cookie Jar, for reasons that will become apparent, I think, during this. We also have Merivan there from KK Poker in shot. He runs KK Poker, and we'll be joined by some familiar faces later, but I won't spoil it until they actually arrive.
Oh, excellent. I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, please don't spoiler. Making up this six-way affair is Konrad. I'm going to do my best on the Polish sounding surname here. Łaskowicz, Karol Imaj, Bojan Abramowski, and Konrad Slowik.
You are crazy.
Yeah, the Polish gentleman told me he runs a club back in Poland, and he gave me another patch to wear, like I don't have enough already, for his club, which he says is near Belarus, but in Poland. He's seat 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I was also talking to the Czech gentleman sitting between Paul and Merivan. He was very excited to be in this cash game.
Yeah, it's lovely to mix in a bit of cash game to the overall broadcasting schedule, it's got to be said. I know there's going to be some PLO tomorrow, some final tables. Obviously we're going to have a lot of day 2 and day 3 coverage of the main, but nice to sprinkle in a little bit of cash game, a little bit of late night degeneracy, Dara.
Yeah, indeed, yeah. We saw there firsthand, I think Merivan bluffed Paul with the 7 deuce and showed, so I think this will be played in good spirit.
Dara, tell us a little bit about your journey from Vegas. Last time I saw you, I think it was about 40 hours ago, you were leaving our hotel room in the Tuscany Suites, adjacent to the Horseshoe, of course, for what is a fairly epic odyssey to eventually end up in Bratislava.
Yeah, somebody who booked my flights sent me a rather indirect way via Denver, Reykjavik, Dublin, and then on to Bratislava. I was actually talking to our joint friend Connell, and he said that, you know, I put up these polls asking people where I'm going next, and he said he always, just as a troll, takes what he considers to be the least likely option, and he actually voted for Reykjavik, thinking there's no way he's actually going to Reykjavik.
It's beautiful this time of year.
Oh, it is beautiful, yeah, and it's a very unique landscape. But I was in the airport for about an hour, so didn't really get to savor it very much. And you came back reasonably direct via Frankfurt.
That's right, yeah. I had a, as you termed it, a homeless day in Vegas, where I wandered around with my bag with a bellboy for about 9 hours at a loose end, trying to be on the rail. Imagine what it would have been like if I made some of those final tables.
Yeah.
Eventually went to the airport.
Yeah, it's always strange at the end of Vegas. It just kind of slowly dies as the main event gets smaller and smaller, and the side events get smaller too, because most people have left. But very different here. Everybody's still very excited. It's the start of the festival. We still have, I think, 4 more flights of the main event to run, and we have a 1K one day tomorrow as well.
Yeah, loads of action, jam-packed schedule, as I mentioned. I am a little bit jealous not to be there. I think I may have ended up divorced had I gone with you straight to Bratislava. So I took the coward's way out. But I am a little bit jealous now that I'm seeing all these happy faces full of, you know, that sort of joy that you only have at the beginning of a festival.
Yeah, and very few have at the end of a festival, whoever won the main event.
I have to say, Bratislava, one of my absolute favourite cities to play poker in. Darrow, you and I played an MPN there, maybe even a couple of MPN there about 5 or 6 years ago. We were there with Unibet once as well. It was a cash game festival, and just a great destination, beautiful city, coffee shops, restaurants, lovely climate.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's one of my favorite places in Europe to play.
Yeah, we'll hop that of poker here as I think finally we're going to get round to hand number 2.
Yeah, it took a little bit of it took a while for this game to get off to get up and going. I think they were trying to get more players in. And again, I won't spoil it, but I do know that somebody we both know very well does arrive in seat 9 later on.
Is it going to be you, and you're somehow breaching the space-time continuum?
I was actually invited to join the game, and it did occur to me that I could play for the first half hour, but I don't want to break the space-time continuum. So they did an interesting thing here too. They ran what they called a satellite to this cash game, where everybody bought in for, I think the buy-in here is 1k, so I guess the satellite they bought in for something like 100, and then the winner got their 1k to go off and play the cash game.
So then the winner sits down, plays one hand, and then can walk away?
That's literally where my mind went as well, but maybe there was some sort of restriction on it.
We're such tournament players, the idea of sitting in cash games.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel for the viewers back home. I mean, 2 tourney donks, jet-lagged out of their brains, commenting on a cash game, unable as yet. Oh no, there's the whole cards. So we can at least see the whole cards now. What could possibly go wrong?
Yeah, I have to say, when I accepted this gig from Finton, I was aware of how jet-lagged I would be, and I think my ending message to you, Darragh, was I'm looking forward to trying to stay awake while commentating on you on the final table while you're trying to stay awake. Yeah.
I arrived here this afternoon, and I late-regged the first flight of the day. And because I bagged up, basically, I don't have to play the main event tomorrow, so that's the only reason I'm here.
Day off in Bratislava, lovely.
Well, there's a 1k one day, or so I'll probably play that, but yeah, I don't have to get up early to play. Okay, so we have they both have something here. Slovik, who is the gentleman I was talking to, and he insisted we take a selfie. He's got top pair, and Paul has over pair, second nut flush draw, and other possibilities as well. I think Slovik might be the man who won the cash game satellite, and he has 100 big blinds, more or less. Paul, it looks like it has a double stack.
Yeah, interesting spot here already. Obviously on the monotone board here, wouldn't be unusual to see him slow down, but he has fired again, and he's extracting value from Paul here with the best hand right now. No longer, unfortunately for him.
The question is, how does Paul get value now? Because if he checks, Slovik will surely check behind a lot. So yeah, Paul figures he has to do his own betting, and he hates this now because good quick fold there. That's the problem with Paul.
He got more chips into that pot when he was ahead and got away when he was behind.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he lost the pot, but in a sense he won the hand, because every time money went into the pot, he was ahead, and when he finally fell behind, no more money went in. So it's difficult to extract value out of position in those spots, because when Paul leads out there on the diamond, it's fairly obvious he has a diamond.
We will check.
One time. I believe one time. I believe one time.
We will check.
I believe one time.
I think you get at least 300 on the
Not to dwell too much into the past, because obviously we like to look forward as poker players, but I did put out today, Darragh, an episode of the Chip Race sister show, The Lock-In, which I'm going to give a shout out to there over on the Chip Race YouTube channel. If people want to check out how Darragh and my Vegas went, you can watch episode 1 of our WSOP adventure, where we played a main event and a couple of sides around it, and then the second week that we were there, the 3k and the Hall of Fame Bounty 2k. And you can watch how things went for us if you want to check that out, if you're looking for some poker content.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm actually looking forward to watching it back myself, because we obviously filmed it and stuff, but I think you filmed a lot of footage as well of other stuff when I wasn't there, so I am looking forward to that. Those on the road shows always do fairly well. People like to sort of see what we look like when we're doing our proverbial bollocks.
Well, I did my proverbial bollocks. You sort of
Yeah,
figured
you were
out a
actually
way
my
to
lucky
get out.
mascot. I think you were kind of my lucky mascot in the end. I bricked everything until you arrived, and then I started running better. So
Anything.
As we see a nice little c-bet there from
yeah, the ace,
Abramowski.
the ace high
Done.
board there obviously favours him, and the pocket twos didn't want to hang on. It's one of those spots that even if you're ahead right now, your opponent's probably going to keep barreling, and you're just not going to be able to take the heat. So you have to bail on the flop.
Yeah, a nice hand selection as well, not just recognising that it was more his board, but also he did have some backdoor potential, so he had some barreling cards too.
Yeah, lots of barreling cards. He had some straightening cards. He had obviously the heart as well, if a heart came.
Sorry, my friend, you are from Macedonia or Slovenia? Macedonia. Great. You are friend with
Leave a shout out here to the man you mentioned there earlier, Cookie Jar, Paul Carr, who has been on a pretty hot streak, it's got to be said, over the last year and a half. Obviously, Paul came second in the Irish Open a good decade or so ago, and probably had, by his own admission, a few lean years in between, but very much back as a kind of powerhouse of Irish poker in the last couple of years or so. Took down the Irish rankings last year.
Yeah, he won the Irish Poker Tour rankings. He also won the Irish Poker Tour final, which was for the top 16 ranked players. He beat James O'Brien heads up in that. He has a fairly sick record in Ireland, particularly in closing out tournaments. And but this year he started travelling a bit more, and he's added some foreign results as well. So
I think the straddle was on in this pot.
Yeah,
so
it looks like under the gun straddle.
queens.
So
Yeah, so pretty dreamy there. Paul Carr obviously bumping it up to 30 with the ace-5 suited, as well he should, and now Abramowski, having put in the straddle, gets to look down at the ladies and
yeah,
take it 90.
the straddle is essentially a third blind. So even though it says he's under the gun, in Paul's mind, it's just he's raised the button and the blind has 3-bet him. Pretty dreamy board for the queens here. He's not going to be too worried about those cards.
A question I have for you, Dara, before we see what Paul does in response. He does have a lot of backdoors, and sometimes you get jiggy with these kinds of hands.
Yeah, I think in position he can just call here and see what happens on the turn. He doesn't necessarily have to raise. If he was out of position, maybe he'd be more likely to check raise. But if he did raise and got 3-bet, he'd be fairly sad with that hand. And now he's picked up, admittedly, a very bad gut shot. A 7 would put a 4 card straight up, and he'd have the wrong end of it. But Abramowski,
Yeah, any card lower than a 9 was going to give him some possibility here.
Yeah,
and obviously any diamond as well.
as well as the diamonds. I like the check here from Abramowski, because even though he nearly always has the best hand, the best way to extract value here is actually to check, recognizing that it's not really his card, so he shouldn't be betting on it. And
Now the question is, does he try to shut this one down now, Dara, with the check shove, or does he just call?
yeah, that's a good question. There's advantages to both, obviously. You can deny equity to some hands, but a very aggressive player like Paul's unlikely to shut down on the river if he doesn't hit. So your two plans are either to check shove and try and deny equity, or check and try and get your opponent to barrel off on the river. And yeah, there we
Here
are.
comes Paul, hand in the cookie jar right away. He's going to try and, basically use this board against his opponent. Obviously, it's very, very coordinated with all those low cards. The SETI sort of board.
Yeah, it is a SETI sort of board, but I think you kind of just have to say, well, if he has it, he has it. There's a lot of missed draws there, missed backdoors. Paul might even be value betting a worse hand here.
I was going to say, if Paul has the 9-10, might he even take this line?
Yeah, absolutely, he might do. So, I mean, you don't love it, obviously, when you're looking at that board, but I don't think you can check call the turn, planning to fold a blank river, and he does flick in the call.
Oh, God, oh,
And Paul
It's the
is...
good news that Paul was at it there, but credit to him, obviously did take his time in the end, but came to the right decision, and I think your analysis was spot on, Dara. Really, as soon as you decide you're going to check call turn, you're basically into bluff catch mode.
Yeah, you could maybe fold some scarier cards like a heart or a straightening card. A 7 would be particularly scary, but when the 4 rolls off, I think you just kind of have to buckle in and call. He may not know too much about Paul, but obviously.
Yeah.
And you can't fault Paul's play either. I mean, he knows he doesn't have the best hand, but he thinks he can get his opponent to fold a lot. But not queens.
No, queen's particularly strong there. Also not beyond the bounds of possibility that Paul could have a hand like tens or jacks himself there.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you said, it's a very setty board as well. He would call with all those pocket pairs that made sets. So
So nice bit of execution from the man centre stage there. Obviously, in this instance, managed to find the right line against the right guy. Paul Carr, I assume, is going to re-enter or rebuy, as they say in cash game parlance.
yeah, I think he has a small amount left if he doesn't top up, but he probably will top up, knowing Paul. He also has his boss to his left, Marivan, who runs KK Poker, and of course Paul is a KK Poker sponsored pro.
I'm trying to think what the equivalent would be in my life. It would probably be like my partner Karen being one to the left, and I just bluffed off a chunk of chips in front of her and she wasn't impressed.
Or maybe Chris Bergfell of Unibet. Unibet, one of the sponsors of this festival, KK Poker also.
Yeah, great to be involved. Obviously, I remember when you helped set up the meeting where Unibet had the opportunity to create some package satellites for this one and send a few players the way of Bratislava. Obviously, an easy sell really to send players to a festival like this one.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have to say one thing that I did notice there. I know you only managed to get in for the last maybe three-handed, 7 or 8 hands maybe of the final table of the Mystery Bounty earlier, but standard on that final table was very, very good. It has to be said, not something you would necessarily expect from a 500 side event. It actually like oozed quality, much more like a high roller.
Yeah, that's interesting. You say it offsuit, early position. Yeah, a bit too early to be playing that hand. It's a hand which looks better than it actually is. You can obviously raise it
a
and
little bit in generalities about the adjustment. Obviously, we play poker with an ante as tournament guys, and that's very much how our brains are boxed into thinking about it. Cash games, obviously, no ante. Basically, the adjustment is you have to open tighter, but how much tighter, and how do you sort of approach something like that?
Yeah, in general you have to be a good bit tighter, particularly in raked games, because if an open is just only slightly profitable, it won't be beating the rake. Now this cash game is actually rake free, which adds a special dimension to it. The guys can pretty much open any hand that's profitable, so that makes the game a bit looser. There should also be more 3-betting pre-flop in general, and less flatting, because when there's an ante in play, you are incentivized to open wider, and you're also incentivized to flat a lot of hands, but that's not necessarily the case in a cash game. So they both have middle pair here, but Hassan has kicker problems. He's up against the straddle.
Yeah, it feels like a spot where you maybe have to call, turn and fold to most rivers, but we'll see how it proceeds.
Yeah. And in the background there, I recognise Lorena taking the pictures. Lorena does the social media for this tour, and she was also in Vegas. And she told me
I was about to say, I'm pretty sure I saw Lorena walking the corridors of a horse.
She was, yeah. She only left Vegas a couple of days, and when I asked her if she was jet lagged, she said she'd never been more tired in her life. But she's here putting in the long hours.
Fair play.
And here we have our new arrival.
There we go. I actually had a feeling it might be this.
Yeah, Ray bagged up yesterday in the main event. Today he came in he played the satellite to the PLO, didn't get through that. He toyed with the idea of playing the PLO, but decided the buy-in was just a bit too much for him. He's only recently taken up PLO, being coached by our good friend Dara Davey, very accomplished PLO player. And then Ray went off and fired a couple of bullets in the satellite for the 1K tomorrow. And having just bust that, he told me he was going to jump into the cash game.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, Ray Weekly, a former, maybe two-time Unibet Open final tabler, certainly one time, maybe Irish Open and Unibet Open.
Yeah, he final tabled. In fact, he was involved in a chop in the Irish Open years ago.
Give this girl.
I think he learned the game around 20 years ago, and then he essentially took a 10-year break. Came back, final table the Irish Open, got interested again, went off, got some coaching, has improved immensely. Like I always tell Ray that he basically plays at pro level now, even though he's not full time. Very, very accomplished player. And he's been absolutely crushing the satellites for this. While we were in Vegas, I believe Ray won about 17 satellites and has racked up so much credit, he can pretty much fire everything.
Great stuff. Yeah, no, one thing I have to say, I know you know Ray a lot better than I do, but in the few times I've had the opportunity to hang out with him, very self-critical, very, conscious of how he can improve all the time, always looking to, almost at the point of like self-flagellation, looks to find ways that he can, beat himself up over a bad line here or there, and it's actually a very good quality in a poker player who wants to improve.
Yeah, very much so. When I first encounter beginner players, if they're very self-critical, I always think they have the ability to improve. Whereas if you meet some players and they really just want to justify every decision they made and be told that it was fine, and those players very rarely improve. So a whole lot of nothing's being folded here. Blind on blind action. 5-3 suited is going to just limp in. And we don't know Bogaevsky's hand yet. And Ray is calling with 10-7 the big blind. So three-way, 2 10-7s against 5-3.
Yeah, interesting one here for the 5-3, obviously out of position against both guys. Actually improved to a flush draw as well, alongside this pair open ender.
Yeah, he picks up the flush draw here, which kind of gives him good reason to bet now, because if he hits his flush or his straight, he probably wants to play a big pot, but at the same time, if they both fold and he just wins with his pair of threes, he's protected his hand, so either outcome is good for him.
Yeah, nice spot, and also a difficult spot for his opponents to find a raising range after it goes check, check, check on the flop.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's obviously the person who can have the really strong stuff there. So even if he's up against a king, he's sort of setting his own price, and then he has this amazing World's Fair draw to potentially hit and extract more value from a king.
Yeah. We see Fintan Gavin, the Tour Supremo, talking to Paul Carr there. Fintan was involved in the PLO when I came into the booth. That still may be the case. He might be just on a break. Fintan, a real powerhouse of Irish poker. He founded the Irish Poker Tour. He's been running large events for as long as we've both been playing.
Well, let's talk a little bit about that, Dara, because actually you're underselling it, if anything. Like it has been quite the remarkable resurgence post the COVID lockdowns, which obviously had us all indoors for the best part of a year and a half. It's almost like this Irish Poker Tour has exploded. It started off, from my eyes, as being like, maybe one stop a month in the first few months. Just suddenly you blink your eyes, and now it seems like there's almost a stop every week.
Yeah, absolutely. It really took off. I remember when I went to the first one, the thing which took me by surprise was just how few of the players I actually recognised, because I've gotten into the habit of just knowing all the players who turned up for tournaments in Ireland, but it brought out a whole new generation of players, and also some returning players, some players I hadn't seen in 5 or 10 years. and I guess had just thought, live poker will always be there, but then during the pandemic realised they couldn't take it for granted. Looks like Ray has ill intentions here.
Yeah, a spicy little open here with the 6-2 suited from the cutoff from Abramovsky, and Wheatley with the absolutely perfect 3-betting hand
love this.
to take him on.
Yeah, I love this from Ray. If he gets 4-bet, he'll know most of the time his hand is not in great shape, so hand doesn't play great as a flat, so he might as well use his blocker and turn it into a 3-bet.
Yeah, on top of the spicy open with the 6-deuce, the 10-8 off flat upright. Voznikovitz is spicy on its own too, so just very nice execution there from Ray, spotting an opportunity to get a squeeze through.
Yeah, great play by Ray there. Ray doesn't play a lot of cash, it has to be said. In fact, he very rarely plays cash, but he's he's a good all-round player, good poker brain on him. He's just good at recognizing situations. And he's also
to the Irish Poker Tour.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, go on, Dara.
No, I was just going to say, Ray's a player who's looking to sort of become more versatile. As we mentioned, our friend Connell there coming into shot to talk to Ray. As he's recently started getting coaching from Dara Davies, specifically on PLO, to add that to his box of tricks, and he's playing more cash as well these days.
Good. Yeah, no, I just wanted to pick up on your point there about the Irish Poker Tour. It's almost like Fintan recognised that a bridge needed to be built, both for the new online crop that would have been sort of born in the lockdown era, for them to get out and play some local live poker, and then also for the returning players and for the sort of pub players, if you like, for them to find a middle ground so they don't have to go off to regional 1Ks, which are a bit tough, to be honest, and a big step up. That he's found this sort of in between sort of 200, 300 quid buy-in in all these different towns in Ireland, which really does help grassroots poker immensely.
Yeah. I think I said to Fintan that the other operators in Ireland really owe him a debt of gratitude, because he did bring out this new sort of grassroots. And initially, when the Irish Poker Tour started, it was all 100s and 150s, and that's what sort of got players in. But some players do well at that level, and they want to move up to the next level. And the Irish Poker Tour has added some bigger buy-in events like Killarney and Galway. But a lot of those players then go on and play other Irish events like the IPO, for example, or the European Deep Stack.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. As we take a look at this one, 4 ways to the flop. Obviously, straddle was on, so the raise was 40, and Paul Carr's actually flop best here with the King Deuce. Pocket 6 is probably not too interested on a board with this texture. Ashlevad has the gutter, and Wheatley with second pair. Because it checked through on the flop, might be a little bit tempted. Ashlevad is going to take a stab here himself. Paul obviously hanging on grimly with that top pair no kicker. And Wheatley with an interesting situation now. Yeah,
I think it's a fairly easy fold. It's one of those situations where even if you have the best hand, you're probably not going to get to show it down. So, and you don't have much improvability. And Paul's improved to 2 pair now. Ashlevad took a stab with his gut shot essentially. So he's going to fire through again here, but he's going to get the bad news that Paul hasn't beaten. No real point in Paul raising here, I don't think, because Ashlevad either has a monster that he was slow played on the flop, or he has that type of hand, which is not going to call a raise.
There from Paul, obviously, Ashlevad targeting maybe some decent 10x that would have hung on, or obviously sometimes Paul will be in there with the draw that can continue to that bet, although he's probably beating the draws anyway.
Yeah, he's beating the draws, but then Paul is going to bluff, so you might as well bet yourself first.
Big pair against big pair.
So full ring game now after a stutter start there, where I think we had 6 for the first hand.
Yeah.
These guys obviously craving the limelight, Dara. Lights, camera, action, and the opportunity to be critiqued and judged by the great Dara O'Carney.
by a very jet-lagged tournament donk, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think we're already seeing some very different styles. Paul is just looking to get into the mix as much as possible. Ray also I mean, I spoke to Ray just before he went on this table, and he did sort of fancy himself in this lineup. So Ray will be looking to play a lot of pots as well. The players, Slavic and Merivan are just seem to be playing very tight, and it's really sort of Paul and Ray who are likely to drive the action here.
Round we go to Ray in the cutoff here with the suited ace. Fully expect him to open this one up. I don't think the straddle's on, so probably just going to make it 15.
Yeah. Well, we're on the subject of Ray. Connell pointed out something to me today. If you look at Ray when he's sort of flexing and glaring at the table, there's a bit of the Alex Foxons to him.
Okay.
So we're going to start calling him Irish Alex Foxon, I think.
He's fully vaccinated though, right?
Actually, no. I think Ray is vax hesitant as well,
Okay.
just to keep the comparison going. I don't know why he's down as T Wheatley. That's not his name. Paul again has a pair but kicker problems, so not really incentivized to put money into the pot. His hand plays best as a bluff catcher, just hope somebody else takes a good bluff at it. Now that he gets to the river, he figures he has the best hand, so he's going for value against worse pairs.
He's going to try and get a cry call out of jacks here, or maybe an
Yeah,
ace 10.
or a 10, or maybe even a pocket pair that just because it's Paul doesn't believe.
Hello, nie wiem, gdzie mam się uśmiechnąć, ale jestem.
And Paul wins another small one.
No zobaczmy, czy jesteśmy Aleksandrem, czy nie jesteśmy. A, nie ma.
And there we have
Taking a glance at our cumulative winnings leaderboard, sponsored by KK Abramovsky, obviously courtesy of that massive hand against Paul Carr right out of the gate, 1k up, which leaves Paul obviously a little bit down. He's made it a little bit back in a few smaller pots in, so 660 down. That's really all the significant movement we've seen so far.
Yeah, essentially what's happened is Paul lost a chunk first hand, obviously 1k essentially too, and then he's taken a small bit back from all the other players. So actually everybody's down except Ackerman, who won that first big pot. Credit to the organisers too here for running a rake-free cash game. So actually those it's zero sum. Those numbers all sum to zero. The glare there from Ray as he dares Bogievsky to open.
Yeah, I'm gonna be looking for this Alex Foxon comparisons now.
Yeah.
40, yeah?
Don't think he's quite got the forearms yet.
Not yet, but he's getting there. Trust me. He's put in a lot of time in the gym, and he's eating a lot of meat at the moment. To the point that myself and Connell have started calling him Meatly, because he mostly just talks about how much he likes meat these days. So he's gotten 3-bet here. Aklabat basically picking up on the fact that Ray seems to be hyper aggressive, opening too wide. Now it's
interesting one now because it's quite a small 3-bet, which I think means that Ray can actually flat quite a bit here, even with the offsuit ace.
Yeah, absolutely, and you can see him already eyeing up his opponent, who has outflopped him.
Rough board here for Ray, really not connecting at all, and I think probably has to just give up to 1-bet here.
Yeah, you really don't like the king high board. If he had a diamond, I think he could continue, but he's out of position. He's missed.
And let's talk a little bit about the metagame of that spot there, Dara. Obviously, pretty reasonable to see a little open 3-bet war going on there between whatever it was, hijack,
cut off.
These guys
Yeah.
are beside each other, creating a bit of a dynamic. But the fact that he went for such a small 3-bet tells me that it was kind of an initiative taking bet rather than a sort of a bet that he expected to get through pre-flop.
Yeah, I think you're right, and I actually, even though I only played for 4 or 5 hours today in the main event, I saw a lot of those bets, and they usually were that type of hand. As you said, an initiative taking bet, which people used to do a lot more 10, 15 years ago. It kind of fell out of favor because people realized, well, you don't get anything to fold, and you're often telegraphing the size of your hand. But you know, some people do it with aces and kings as well. So Slavic here in the small blind has a suited hand. He's decided to call.
Yeah, this is a little spicy as well. Obviously, suitedness is nice, but 8-3 is pretty ugly.
It is pretty ugly. Now he's flopped a flush draw and he's up against top pair, so more money is definitely going in here. About throwing out the bet.
Yeah. The question is, does Slowick decide to take the initiative here and go for a raise with this bad flush draw, or does he just flat? I prefer the flat, and that is what he's chosen.
Yeah. Yeah, as a general rule, like, he's not going to have too much 9x. If the board was something more like 8, 7, 5, very coordinated, that would favour a lot of the hands that he flats, but Jack 9, 9, it's hard for him to have the best hand very often.
Kind of being laid the right direct price now, so it's a tricky one. Obviously, out of position, it's going to be hard to extract value if he makes his hand, but when he is being offered such a tempting price, I can understand this call.
Yeah, absolutely, and there it is. He hits on the river. Now, we saw a similar pot early on where Paul came out betting, recognising that his opponent would check behind a lot, but it's still hard to get paid here. Like,
yeah, I think we've a misread on the board there. We saw the ace of clubs come. It says
oh
nine
yeah,
of
yeah.
diamonds. I would say
Actually, it hasn't come.
that.
Yeah, it's corrected now. So he basically just has 8 high, so he gives up. Yeah, the ace of clubs would be much more interesting river to see what.
No, it was the ace of clubs, Tara.
Was it the ace? Okay, so.
Yeah, no, it's a graphical error. The ace of clubs we saw come off the deck, so I'm absolutely certain, and I think he did lead out and get the fold.
Yeah, again, it's just very hard to get value there because it's also probably the least bluffed line in poker. Check call, lead river.
Yeah.
Very, very few players are capable of finding that bluff.
Yeah, if you're ever going to find it, it's sort of when you've been going along with the flush draw and then the obvious straight draw comes in and you just say, well, I got to rep that too now, I guess.
Yeah, but even
That
then,
is
like,
sort of the only time
like
you
if you don't have the draw yourself, you often have showdowns. So a lot of players will just try and get the showdown line and check.
Yeah. A reminder for anyone tuning in now, you can go back and watch a very entertaining, it must be said, Mystery Bounty final table from about 6 or 7 hours ago. Thoroughly recommend that. In fact, something happened in that tournament that doesn't always happen at the end game of Mystery Bounties, partially because of an intentional wrinkle applied by Fintan Gavin, the tour manager, who likes to hold one of the big bounties back, but actually the other big bounty was not claimed, so we had the two biggest bounties still in action on the final table, and one of them still in action when we got four-handed, three-handed and heads up. So actually changed quite a lot of the game dynamics in a way that makes it kind of interesting, in a way that I guess if you are going to have mystery bounties as part of your festival, you sort of want to inject those dynamics into the game. That's sort of the point of it. As you mentioned, Dara, sometimes when we've been there, when a mystery bounty kind of pops early because the big one goes in the first half an hour, it sort of takes the wind out of the tournament a little bit. Not so in this one, actually, and well worth looking back. High standard play and very interesting dynamics laid on.
Yeah, credit to Fintan. That is his innovation. I actually remember talking to Fintan when Mystery Bounties were new, and I had just brought out the book on Mystery Bounties, and Fintan rang me at an event in Dublin, not an event he was organising himself, and he said he was going to have a Mystery Bounty in the Irish Poker Tour, but he wanted to spice it up in some ways, and I was like, okay, well, what have you got in mind? And he said, well, one idea I have is I'll have two big bounties, but I'll keep one of them back to the final table. And I immediately thought, wow, what a great idea. And I told him as much. I'm surprised more organisers haven't followed suit on that stuff, because we both played Mystery Bounties where the big one goes fairly early, and that's just a huge buzzkill in the room. And also it devalues the final table a little bit. When Matt Glantz pulled that big bounty at WSOP, the first one that they ran, he ended up getting more than the winner got. With a couple of hundred people left. So that kind of hits people as not quite right as well.
Yeah. Also, I think objectively, if Matt Glantz wins the $1 million bounty, it just ruins the vibe.
Well, I also remember being at a mystery bounty at an EPT in, I think it was Prague, and almost straight out of the gate, the biggest bounty was pulled by the richest man in the room. The French gentleman who owns Winamax. I'm sure you know who we're talking about, Patrick Bruel. And yeah, the French were particularly, they were all muttering under their breath, saying like, this is literally pocket change to him, but it would be life changing to other people. So yeah, there's a lot of ways. It's a really bad thing when the big bounty goes early.
Yeah. Yeah, no, great innovation. Credit to Fintan for that. And actually, it just sort of proof in the pudding created phenomenally interesting dynamics late on in the mystery bounty earlier today. So again, if you are tuning in late to this one, you're listening to us now, I would recommend going back and watching that. I think it was just a really nice table. Not a particularly long final table, probably about 4 hours beginning to end, but definitely had some extra dynamics that made it a bit more interesting.
Yeah, it sounded super interesting. I think the great thing about Fintan as a tournament organizer is he's a very accomplished poker player himself. He understands poker, so he has that sort of poker player's perspective as well, and he can put that hat on and think about ways to make tournaments more appealing and more exciting to players. Like Fintan is, I believe Fintan has actually won more tournaments than any other Irish player on the Hendon Mob. He has something like 24 wins. He famously chopped EPT Barcelona back 12 or 13 years ago. So very accomplished player in his own right, and he does sort of bring that poker player perspective to organising festivals.
We're going to have a splashy one here, Dara. Open from Slowick on the button, and Hassan with the real one here. 3 bets the queens, and Slowick makes the call with the 10-8.
Yeah, Hassan is on the screen there as Hassan M, but I think everybody calls him Merivan. He's the gentleman who runs KK Poker, and also plays quite a bit of poker himself.
Well, interesting here where Merivan has a spot where his range wants to bet, but his hand does not.
Yeah, this very much favours the razor, but it's kind of, what does your bet achieve with queens? But you kind of have to go ahead and range bet, and he's not going to get any action from the 10-8. The thing is, like, even when you're ahead as he was there, you're unlikely to get any action anyway.
Yeah, it's mostly that you just don't want to hand over the initiative to your opponent.
Yeah,
and be in a guessing game.
Like, the only hands that you really want to check there are queens and jacks and those types of hands. And if they're the only hands you're checking, then you're more or less telling your opponent what you have. You're playing face up, so you're better off just range betting. See what happens.
You must be careful. When you start the stream, you must give 7.
On a board like Ace King 6.
Sorry,
go on.
Go on.
No, I was just saying, on a board like Ace King 6,
apologies, guys. We are on a probably half-second time delay, and it scuppered us there. Dara, you go on.
Yeah, I was just going to say, on a board like Ace King 6, you're typically going to have different sizings, different parts of your range. You're going to want to do different things. If you have a big ace, you're probably going to want to bet big, and you're going to want to bet some of your bluffs big as well. But then you're going to have hands like queens and jacks that really don't want to bet big, so they'll bet small, and you'll balance that with some bluffs as well.
We see here small pop brewing here. Ray has opened it up with the queen jack suited in early, as well he should. Pocket 4 is coming along for the right, as is the 6-7 suited, and now a very squeezable ace king off for Avramovsky. Expect him to go quite a big sizing here out of position. Wouldn't be surprised to see this go all the way up to about 90 bucks. He's chosen 80. That seems pretty good.
Yeah, there's a lot of money out there, so he doesn't mind taking the pot down now. His hand doesn't mind
really
getting called either.
About this one, Dara, is that Ray is likely to come along, which could actually drag in both of the other players.
Yeah, the 4s can set mine now, although he's decided not to. Paul, I don't know if he's going to love the 7-6.
I don't think Paul is folding the 7-6.
Yeah, but yeah, true. Yeah, it's Paul we're talking about, so he's not folding 7-6. The problem with a hand like 7-6 is it's not really a nut draw type hand. Your flush draw could be dominated as it is here. You really hope to hit a straight, and you're not going to love top pair either.
This is a very murky one now, as Paul is probably going to have to hang on grimly. Also has obviously all those back doors to go with his top pair.
Yeah, it's a horrible board for the Ace King as well.
Heart working.
Yeah, horrible board for the Ace King. So he's decided to just check. Ray's decided to check as well. This is very much Paul's board. he's by far the most likely to have hit this. So that actually allows him to bet his fairly weak top pair.
Yeah, but as much as you hate this board, also not weird to go with a range check on a board like this, even when you have some good hands. So interesting to see how Avramovsky will respond to this bet.
Yeah, Avramovsky can represent all the overpairs, obviously. So I think if he had ace king with a club, he could maybe bluff, because he'd have a lot of barreling cards. But he doesn't have a club, so he's just going to let it go. And Ray has pretty much nothing as well. So even though he'll be very suspicious of Paul, yeah, you can literally see it on his face there. He's like, he suspects larceny, but the man they call Cookie Jar actually had it this time.
Yeah, and by it, he had an extremely vulnerable top pair.
Extremely vulnerable top pair, yeah.
No, well played. Interesting pot already. Obviously, when you squeeze the ace king there, you really want to get heads up in most worlds, particularly when you know you're going to be out of position to whatever opponent you face. I actually think, I know I said I like a raise to about 90 here. I wouldn't have even minded to see 100. I wonder if the decision to go to 80 was a little too small.
Yeah, I think it was a bit too small. And once you get called by two people, you really hate it, because now you're going to have to hit.
Very openable Jack 10 suited for MI here.
Yeah, he's played super tight so far. He's going to get a lot more respect than some of the other players would. I don't think Paul's going to come along with the king 4 against him. We don't know Slovik's hand yet, but he's folded it anyway, so it doesn't matter.
We're probably round to the blinds already. Although the 9-10 suited folding is nitty enough.
Yeah, I think Marivan is naturally nitty, but I think he also recognises that Imai has pretty much been the tightest player at the table, so he could be dominated as he is in this case. But Ray's not giving up his straddle.
No, nor should he with the suited queen here for just a min raise.
Wow, they all have something here.
Very interesting board, Darren. My goodness, what have we got here?
Yeah,
Imai with sort of everything, and both of his opponents with vulnerable top pairs. Yeah,
you can see Imai's actually behind right now, but has has more equity than his two opponents. Just because of he has so much here. In addition to his pair, he has a very strong draw.
Now, lead out here from Ray is interesting. Obviously, trying to sort of pin the field maybe to 2, but he gets both players to come along.
Yeah, he's not going to like it now. He's going to recognise his hand's too weak to bet twice for value, so I think he's going to have to raise the white flag here. And Imai decides.
I think it's checked round on the turn now, so our graphics just doing a little bit of catch up here.
Yeah.
And our board is wrong. Just again, sorry guys. The Queen 9. That is actually not the board right now. It's not Queen 9 4 Jack. The 4 Jack are the turn and river. There's actually a 10 on the flop as well.
Yeah, no point in really betting 2 pair there on that board. With the 4-liner out there, your 2 pair is basically 3rd pair, I guess. You're losing to a king or an 8. And he'll be quite relieved. Yeah, little fist pump there.
Yeah.
I love this man.
Yeah, we got all the cards right, but not in the right order.
Yeah.
There, on the graphics. They were definitely all the cards that came out, but the river was actually part of the flop.
Yeah.
I want to pick up on something with you, Dara, there. We talked about the growth of the Irish Poker Tour, which has been absolutely wonderful to see, because grassroots poker is something you and I have always championed and tried to actually give as much love to as we possibly can, as players who obviously play bigger than that, but would definitely attend mid stakes and lower stakes stuff, because we want to be supportive of that kind of world. Trying to grow even further, Fintan, obviously with stops like this and London and Portugal kind of recently as well, looking to expand the tour overseas.
Yeah, Portugal was a new one on the calendar, and it was a big success. It was essentially like an Irish version of a summer holiday stop that a lot of the operators do. And Fintan is always very ambitious, it's quite ambitious to have another big festival just a month after Portugal overseas, but Bratislava is a wonderful destination, very popular destination. There's pretty much something in Bratislava every week now.
Well, as someone who regularly, tugs on Finton's coat and is probably very much a consigliere of his, are there other cities you'd love to see him go?
Yeah, there are, and I don't want to give away until they're announced. But he definitely has some very attractive targets where he wants to run events. I think some of them will definitely take people by surprise. Yeah, this tour is kind of in its infancy at the moment, in the same way that the Irish Poker Tour was 2 years ago. But same way that he built up the Irish Poker Tour, Finton's looking to build up this tour.
Can you give us any spoilers, any hints?
Are
we leaving Europe?
We could very well be, yeah.
You're that guys now, you might have to pack big suitcases.
Yeah. Make sure you put check bags onto your tickets. I spent a lot of money getting my bag back from Vegas because I had no checked-in bag. So fold it around to lay position here. Polish gentleman with the club he told me about, which is in Poland but almost in Belarus, he said. He folds the 10-5 suited. Most of the players here are playing very, very nitty, but a few of them are forcing the action. Mainly the Irish guys, it has to be said, Ray and Paul. What's Ray going to do here?
Speaking of Ray now, he's got an opportunity to 3-bet this one. Bogowski obviously going to have a relatively wide range coming from the button. Queen 9 suited more than qualifies. Ray can pump things up here with the ace-8.
Yeah.
And that is exactly what he's decided to do.
Yeah, I like this. His hand doesn't play great as a flat, but it has good blockers. And Aklevad has a very playable hand.
Well, interestingly, Dara, with exactly the stack that Aklevad finds himself, is this maybe a 4-bet shove?
Yeah, there's a lot out there. There's 80 out there, and he's only got 290. So if this gets through even 1/3 of the time, this is a profitable shove. There's a general rule of thumb that if you're picking up 1/3 of your stack and you reckon you have about 33% equity if called, which a hand like ace-5 suited typically does, then you only need 33% fold equity. You only need your opponents to fold 33% of the time to be break even. And Ray can't call off here. Ray's going to fear he's dominated there, whereas in actual fact he's dominating. But and just to make matters worse, he gets shown the 5.
I want maybe we see in this.
Nicely played there from Aklevad, recognising that as he's chipped down. Unfortunately for him, during the course of the early going in this cash game, he actually ended up with quite a neat little stack to make that move.
Yeah, he had the perfect stack size for it. You can see that some very high VPIPs there. Ray's VPIP being over 70%. That's very, very loose. But he's at a table where a lot of the players are playing very tight. So
yeah, I think that's maybe 6 of the last 8 hands is played.
Yeah. And this is, and remember, this is 5-5. It's not 2-5. So there's actually 2 big blinds out there every pot. Now Merivan 2s is not a great hand in early position, but he's been very, very tight. So he might. No, he's decided to let it go. I like the fold there. That's those kind of small and medium pairs. Players can get sucked in from early position to play them, but you get called, you're going to be looking at 3 overcards most of the time. You're far from closing the action, so you might be getting 3-bet. And if the graphics are right, this is a very large open.
Yeah, I'm not so sure that the 2s didn't get involved actually for 20, and this is actually a 3-bet.
That would make more sense, yeah.
Yeah, I think the 2s maybe did stick in 20.
Oh no, but Merivan doesn't have any. But Merivan doesn't have any cards in front of him.
Okay, do you know what it is, Dara? I apologise.
There's a straddle.
On.
There's a straddle. That's what it is.
It's a double straddle.
Yeah. That makes sense. So essentially, this is a 3x.
We see
that
two
makes much
casinos.
more sense. Well, what a spot for Paul Carr.
Wow.
He's on the first straddle.
That is win.
Second straddle went on, and he's happy to just
100
Send it.
situation win.
Yeah.
send in the clowns.
Yeah, well, he's up against two shorter stacks, so their stacks are effective.
Maybe let's pay you
And can't imagine the Jack 10's calling off here, and he's not.
Alexander,
No.
7.
There's 100 quid in there with the blinds and antes, and Paul's only risking 500 with the ace king suited, so pretty
Yeah.
nice outcome if he just gets through.
Yeah. Yeah, he picks up 20% of the effective stack there, and if he gets called, he's going to realise equity. He's going to see all 5 cards, which his hand also likes.
Yeah, back in business for
Trouble.
Right here. It's his casino. Paul Card Casino.
So what time is the 1K 1 day beginning tomorrow, Dara? I know you have your heart set on that one.
I do indeed. I know there's a satellite in the morning, which I guess I'm going to be missing at this stage. So let me just check the schedule quickly. Yeah, so the 1 day tomorrow, the 1K, starts at 2 p.m.
That sounds like a nice, relaxing morning. A little bit of breakfast somewhere in the old town, and then off you go to play some poker in the afternoon.
Yeah, possibly. And Ray getting involved here with the 6s, just calling this time. Not really a great hand to 3-bet. Will Paul get involved with the Jack 4 off? No. That's the Robbie go. Slavic, who's essentially big blind because he's straddled, has a very nice hand to bump it up.
Yeah, and interesting to see the sizing now. Obviously, the 30 has been called twice, so I'd kind of like to see this go to like 125, 140 either. But he's gone small again. 100, very tempting for everybody. Although,
Yeah,
our original opener did open a pretty loose hand.
Yeah, the 10-9 has to worry about the people behind maybe back racing, so not much point in sticking around. Ray
Very funny
really
spot
doesn't have
now
the
for
odds.
Ray.
Yeah, Ray doesn't have the odds here to set mine against Slavic's stack, so he might be thinking about back raising here. Just recognizing that his 6s is usually ahead, albeit in a race.
Yeah, it's a very funky one. Obviously, Slavic with the raise to 100, going for that small sizing has sort of made it a little bit tempting. Ray's actually going to trust his post-flop read here and make the flat and try and navigate this one.
Yeah, Ray's a very good post-flop player, so I think that's why he's taking this line, even though strictly speaking he can't set mine with 6s. The problem is it's brought Aklavad in behind, so Ray's actually in the worst position now. He's squeezed between the 3-better and the other player.
This is a real YOLO call from Aklavad with 4-2 suited, with a stack to pot ratio now of about 0.7 to 1.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Slavic doesn't love obviously the king, but with so little behind, he just has to assume he has the best hand.
No, Aklavad has actually found a little piece of this, but it's
a
unlikely to be a good piece.
It's a very little piece, and if he has the best hand, Slavic is likely to keep barreling, so he has to let it go as well.
Yeah, the inherent unprofitability of a flat with 4 deuce like that, when you do make a pair and it's almost always bottom pair,
Yeah.
you just really don't know what to do. You're in a guessing game against even the first bet.
And there we can see how often they go to showdown. So I guess Aklavad is the stickiest player so far. Ray is the loosest.
I think this time. I've been struggled.
Paul's Ray stat there is quite low because he's done a lot of flatting in position, not so much 3-betting, whereas Ray has tended to open a lot and 3-bet quite a lot.
I love struggle and small. Alcohol is not good. This is problem for you or for me?
No.
What do you feel? For you or for me? This is a problem for me. You have a right.
So there, the first episode of the WSOP Adventure lock-in episode, it sort of fixates on your shirts, frankly. I don't want to give a spoiler away, but that becomes pretty apparent very early on in the video. I'm interested to know, did you have time to launder said shirts before this tour, or were there just more shirts available? Or indeed, have you now decided that you're not a shirt guy anymore for this trip?
The answer is none of the above. My wife actually laundered all the shirts while I slept most of yesterday. And I woke up to find that a lot of the same shirts from Vegas were now freshly laundered and in my suitcase to be brought over here. I'm actually recognizing, I'm wearing one that you will remember. You call it the leather strap shirt. And I have
that's the one that sort of almost gives, evokes, like a dominatrix club. That's all I can say.
I mean, different people see different things, so it probably says more about you than the shirt, but yeah.
This is the Rorschach test of shirts.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. No, the colourful shirts are out for this trip as well, so I won't spoil which one I'm going to wear tomorrow, because I actually don't know what the other three are, except they're all colourful. Because my wife did ask me, do you want plain shirts or do you want colourful shirts? And I said, colourful ones, please.
Just most importantly, did the lucky one get included? That's all
I'm not sure there is a lucky one, to be honest.
No, we decided the green one was...
Oh yeah, the green one, but that's kind of a plain one, so yeah. I mean, maybe people think I'm serious about this stuff, but I really amn't. Like, I'm the least superstitious person you'll ever meet. It's just a bit of fun that people sort of play along with. But yeah, I don't really spend much time thinking about this stuff. So Ray again, he's missed his flop. He keeps whiffing, so, but he has bet at it. Slavic has lots of possibilities here, but he has been playing quite cautiously, so Ray gets the job done with the bet.
Next 2 weeks, yeah.
Action hold it round to
Great.
Ray, I think. Under the gun +2, or under gun +3 in fact. It's going to open things up with the ace queen here.
I know Tony, but
Looks like he's made it 35, so I'm assuming the straddle is on.
Yeah, we have to assume it is. Ray, unlikely to 7x.
Rajkowski, I love this.
Imai with a very tempting set/board mining proposition with pocket sevens. He's going to get in the mix here from the cutoff.
Yeah, he
And,
calls.
another ace queen in the hands of Hassan, who may well decide to just flat and just have a flatting range out of the big blind here, or may decide to bump this up. It's actually kind of reasonable to do either one.
Yeah, I tweeted out that we were covering this cash game, that Paul was in it, and I just see that Merivan is very upset that I didn't include him in the tweet. I'm sorry, Merivan, I didn't know what your Twitter handle was. Oh, look at this flop.
Yeah, so Wheatley with a much more telegraph strong hand. Hassan out of the big blind here, very under-repped. One would imagine Imai could get caught in the middle here for one bet.
Yeah, this looks a fairly safe board. Like, the queen is not the most dangerous of overcards. You'd be far more worried about a king and particularly an ace. And obviously the other two cards are undercards. And he does have a spade as well, but yeah, he has been the tightest. Himself and Slavic, I think, have been the two tightest players. So it's going to be the battle of the ace queens here. Two very different players.
If Hassan decides to sort of spring his trap now, having played this in a sort of a passive fashion. It wouldn't be unreasonable to raise it up here with top pair, top kicker in this situation, but also reasonable to just call, and not a very vulnerable top pair could get Wheatley to start barreling away here with some of the stuff that has missed. Obviously we see that they are playing the very same hand.
Yeah, very few draws here. Really only the spades that Ray's likely to have. That's just a tiny part of his range. Sometimes recreational players focus a little bit too much on flush draws, but you know, your opponent has to have started off with a suited hand, and then it has to be that particular suit. So it's really a small part of the range. Ray's going to keep firing. Ray's is likely to think he definitely has the best hand here, and he's targeting value from worse queens, and obviously spades as well.
Yeah, now, and I think if you're Hassan, obviously just sticking it in here makes a reasonable amount of sense. There will be some draws that Ray has that you just want to get in now immediately.
Yeah,
there isn't much behind.
No, there's very little behind, so you might as well put it all in now. Not give your opponent the opportunity to check behind when, say, he has a worse queen on the river or something like jacks.
Well, it looks like he has just made the call.
He has just made the call.
Presumed playing possum here with very much the top of his range.
Yeah, it looked like a somewhat reluctant call to me, I have to say. But yeah, with this low stack to pot ratio, now that's a horrible river for. He has to be a little bit worried about ace king, but Ray's just going to take his showdown with the ace queen, and they'll chop it up.
Yeah, weird one there for Ray. Obviously, he's the only one who can have ace king really in that up, but he has a hand with tremendous amounts of showdown anyway, and would be just a bit worried about that run out. Obviously, up against queen jack or queen 10, a possibility, and just decided he'd rather knuckle that one back and hope that he was good, and he was good for shot.
Yeah, if you're going to bluff ace queen there, you're pretty much bluffing everything. You have far better bluffs than that hand. Hands that have less showdown. Look at Ray's VPIP, it's off the charts
here. Partly by function of his aggression levels and partly by function of some decent hands, Ray Wheatley has continued the VPIP challenge in fine form here, 73% being maintained.
Yeah.
My friend, this
the Gavin in shot again there. You wondered whether this means the end of his PLO run, possibly the end of the day in the PLO.
Possibly, yeah.
The end of it. He's on the rail there.
Okay, no problem. No problem.
Might look to get in this game, Finton, maybe.
He might do, actually, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Finton's a very proficient cash game player as well, and he does like to gamble it up. He'd certainly be good for this game if he got in, but all the seats are occupied for now.
I love player in Macedonia, really. Tony and no Tony. No.
Okay, Ray's finally found a hand he can fold. I'm glad they didn't zoom in on Ray's phone there, because I'm pretty sure he's messaging me. I got a message from him about half an hour ago complaining about how he was running.
Start or only position?
Can you believe he had ace queen as well, Darren?
Well, no, Ray never goes into specifics like that, but he just felt he was playing too loose, and he wasn't hitting enough. I just got another message from him saying 72% VPIP, fuck me. Don't think he realised how loose he was playing himself. So I guess he's watching the stream back as well.
Well, we go four ways to a flop of ace, 3-3 rainbow, no ace in anyone's hand. Ashlevad with the betting lead, he opened the pocket jacks, got three callers, Carr with sevens, Slowick with king queen, and Abramovsky with queen 10. Queen 10 does make a pair here, but is behind the jack still of Ashlevad. Tricky one to know whether he needs to just fire out a very small bet now, or does he check it through again?
Yeah, it's super tricky because it's kind of unlikely anybody has an ace when they didn't bet the flop, and it's equally unlikely anybody has a 3. So your 10 will be the best hand a lot, but it needs protection. Oh, look at this river though.
And look at this, Dara. Slowick has made
this is brutal.
Straight on the river, but he has voted up Ashlevad.
And very little money has gone into the pot before the river, so you wouldn't expect two hands this strong to be out there.
No, suddenly these two guys are going to activate and it's going to seem a bit strange.
Yeah, Slovak now absolutely thinks he's betting for value here with his rivered gut shot. Actually, he's gone runner. And now this is music to Aklavad's ears. He's sitting there with a boat and somebody is willing to put money in. Tricky position because he's got the other two players between him and the other guy, so
I have nothing.
I think once you have one customer here from that position in particular, I think you just raise it up yourself. I know what you're saying, that sometimes you could just flat and maybe get a second caller, but
Yeah,
I
but
think
he
actually
has-
you're
yeah,
better
yeah.
off targeting the guy who's shown an interest.
yeah, that's what he's.
King guy, I say you, King guy. Oh, bye. Sorry for me. Sorry for me, my guy. From India. Good. GG. Sorry for me.
She win. He gets full house. He has full house. She wins.
Yeah, I know.
Gets the full double, as we said, a sort of inconsequential pot going to the river. Didn't seem like we were going to see much action, but you have to be luckiest of rivers from a viewer's point of view there. The Jack of Diamonds loading up BRATISLAVA.
Yeah,
And,
brutal
obviously
river there.
Slowick
Absolute cooler.
there, yeah, pretty nasty.
He was essentially too outer to put money into the pot. A pot he had no intention of putting any money in on any other river.
India. Kurwa, no właśnie, kurwa, no. Widziałeś to, człowieku?
So you can see Paul there sporting a patch for the forthcoming London Poker Festival, which is part of this same tour. Finton does like his big patches. There's no doubt about what he's promoting there.
Nice hand.
Yeah, I've noticed you sporting similar patches over the last few months, Dara, and I always think, when Dara has to open his bag in the morning and unfurl his patch,
Yeah.
you know something big is about to happen.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm actually wearing three such big patches at the moment. I have one for Bratislava, one for London, and one for the Irish Poker Tour. So there's not much shirt left at this point.
Only liver for you.
Well, we're about to do a run on chip race patches, Dara, and I do feel the need to compete now.
Yeah, unfortunately we haven't. We ran out of chip race patches a while back.
How big do I go? 8-4?
Go out. Last time.
Sorry, say that again, David?
Last time.
How big a patch do I go for with the new chip race run? We go 8-4, 8-3 maybe? Just maybe
Yeah.
an entire back?
Yeah, possibly, yeah.
He came for Japan
Or maybe I'll just go with clothing. We'll use branded clothing so we just wear clothes instead.
You know the story?
Yeah.
Qualify for Vegas.
This guy, yeah.
Qualify for Vegas. Main event in Vegas. But he's too young to go to Vegas.
Nie mógł pojechać.
Yeah, so we changed for. So he's VIP Japanese player for us.
So Ray folding the 6 deuce offsuit, the Andy Black as we call it these days.
I can only assume this is a hand that Andy punted hard with.
If you remember his Irish Open bust out a couple of years ago, Declan Rice raced from the small blind and Andy sent it in with 6-2 off.
I do remember now.
And it's a hand I'd never really noticed before because, who looks down at 6-2 off and thinks, well, there it is again. But I can't forget it now. I remember going to Vegas and I just kept getting dealt 6-2 off. And I didn't know whether it was just getting dealt more often or it just in the past I'd never noticed because I didn't go into the memory bank. So Aklavad's has also been very, very active. And he's getting involved here. He did have the double straddle on, so now Hassan's just looking at one over card.
Yeah, pretty reasonable to fire out a third here.
If the graphics are right, that went check.
He checked it though.
Yeah, I guess he figured he's only getting called by the king, maybe, or mostly getting called by the king. He's picked up a 10 high flush draw now as well, so that gives him further reason to bet. It's kind of similar to what we said before. If he hits his flush on the river, he wants the pot to be bigger. But if he gets his opponent to fold, then he's protected his pair. But yeah, Marivan is just a very cautious player in general, I think. And he's going to try and show this down, I think. And maybe this will pay off. Activad has decided he can bluff at this now.
What do you have, Jacks, Queens?
Tough little guessing game now for
Yeah.
Marivan.
Good board reading there, I think, by Activad. He said, what do you have, Jacks, Queens? Because those are the types of hands that you could expect to take this line. Hassan actually has a very similar hand, tens.
Look at this, no hesitation here, counting out the call.
Yeah. This is going to be a side call, but you know, you have to think most of the ace-x would 3-bet you pre-flop, and a lot of the king-x as well.
Oh,
What happened there? Oh no, his opponent mucked, obviously.
oh, mucked. Oh, I got such a fright.
I was afraid Marivan had mucked the winning hand there. Yeah, that would have been very
I
sad.
did as well.
Yeah, it did look like that, but clearly his opponent just realised his queen high wasn't going to win, so he didn't want to show what he was bluffing with.
Great hand, really. Oh my goodness.
Well, Garrett, I bring some news. I know you're going to get into this 1K one-day tournament tomorrow afternoon. That will actually be the next scheduled stream on our stream schedule for this Bratislava Poker Festival 2024. 7 p.m. tomorrow night local time, guys. If you want to tune in then, you can watch Darrow Carney, who I'm virtually certain will make that final table. Battle it out against Paul Carr, who I'm also virtually certain, and probably Ray Wheatley as well.
Yeah, Paul and myself have been joking with each other for years that we are going to get a heads up in the tournament at some point. It's almost happened a few times. It almost happened in the Intercontinental in the last side event. We actually got three-handed and we were 1 and 2 in chips, but I ended up busting in the third. It almost happened at an IPT recently as well, so maybe tomorrow we'll finally get heads up.
Well, since it is a 1K one dayer, I'm going to imagine the structure is a little on the quick side, probably semi-turbo, and therefore Darrow Carney's short stack ninjing skills, I'm virtually certain, are going to carry him all the way through to that final table. So if you're going to watch The Great Man, do tune in tomorrow at 7 p.m. where we will be covering that event. I'm particularly looking forward to that now already.
Yeah, and if I don't make the final table, I guess I can come in and commentate and be very salty about everybody who has made the final table.
Lovely. We love salty Darren.
Yeah. So Slavic has nothing here, but the other
played top pairs here.
Yeah, Ray obviously doesn't love his kicker, and Bogajevsky has been taking the cautious lines so far. Now he has to decide.
Everyone just happy with their showdown probably right now. I'm not sure.
Yeah, Slavic has even hit a pair on.
It.
Yeah, Slavic has hit a pair here, so he has showdown too. And Ray throws out a small blocker bet. He's trying to get called by the pairs on the board, basically.
Yeah. And also maybe doesn't want to face a larger bet.
Yeah.
In case.
Yeah, this is essentially a blocker.
Thinking, is there a flush or straight out there?
Yeah, this is a blocker. You can get called by worse hands, and you can not have to put more money in when you don't have the best hand.
Yeah. I wonder if it'll actually work as a bluff against Bogoyev.
It's so small, I think you just have to side call.
I think so too, but you just never know. Yeah.
Yeah.
No i super, dziękuję ci.
And a relieved man gets to show down the winner here. Bogojevsky only had to pay 15. Ray, as it turned out, probably could have just got to showdown without betting, but that bet did have some functionality to his credit.
Call. I see this guy. Thank you. Dziękuję, dziękuję ci. Dzień dobry. Dzień dobry, dziękuję ci bardzo. Nice game. Chuju. Chyba ty chuju. Cheers. Cheers, Alexander. Cheers.
When's the last time you played a cash game, Dara? I honestly can't remember. I'm going to guess it was maybe at the Norwegians a few years ago.
But he's Macedonian, no?
I do play a little bit online when I'm on the wind down sometimes, but live I'm really struggling to think when I last played a cash game.
This is
Yeah, in fact, I really can't remember. It's that long
Maybe we play
ago.
Omaha. No, Omaha.
I just don't enjoy it. I did an interview today, and I was asked why I don't play more cash, and the honest answer is I just don't enjoy it as much as tournaments. And I obviously haven't put anything like the same amount of work in.
Also.
Yeah, it is a very different discipline. To be fair, it is like chalk and cheese, really.
Yeah. Some players are very versatile, like Fintan Gavin, for example, and they can flick between the two. But most players specialize in one or the other.
I'm sorry for me.
One thing that people look for in a poker festival, there obviously we're seeing a little sprinkling of cash game action here, which is great to see. There's a PLO tournament running right now. We've got the
Nice
whole
game,
main event
nice
of that
game.
one day, or I think there might even be a high roller in the mix. Is there much in the way of mixed game? Obviously, Bratislava is a bit of a hotbed of poker, and some of the other festivals that go to Bratislava do like to provide quite a big slate of mixed game stuff. Have you noticed on either the Irish Poker Tour or indeed this kind of overseas poker festival series that Fintan created, is there a bit of horse, or is it just PLO and maybe the one other alternative?
Yeah, it is pretty much just PLO. Like the other games really aren't played very much at all in Ireland, so it'd be very hard to draw a crowd for a horse tournament. But what we are seeing is in addition to 4-card PLO, 5-card PLO and 6-card PLO events. Pretty much every Irish Poker Tour stop now has 5-card and 6-card PLO. So those games are becoming more popular, but as far as the other games, not so much.
Yeah, we see here Paul Carr. It looks like he's limped in with the Jack 7. We saw Pocket Kings get folded. I'm pretty sure that must be a graphical error. I can't imagine a world where the Pocket Kings didn't enter this pot.
Yeah, graphical error clearly.
Or an error of eyesight by the person who looked down at Kings.
Well, everybody seems to have a chip in front of them, so is this some sort of weird bomb pot?
I don't know.
Oh, Alexander. Oh, my.
It looks like Paul started the party with the limp.
Alexander.
Yeah, so this is 6-way?
Yeah, it's gone so much. I actually have a little box obscuring the very top left-hand corner of my screen, so I'm not sure if there's another hand up there.
Yeah, I think you're right. Paul limped.
You are from Slovakia or?
And everyone decided that.
Well, yeah, he limped against the straddle. I guess the straddle was for 10. Paul limped, and then everybody limped behind. Pretty much, almost everybody.
I see you are a Vienna player. Alexander, I see you in.
It's a tough one for the solvers, the old 6-way, isn't it, Dara?
Very, 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 very tough. You don't even know what you want to hit. You don't know how good even top pair is against that many players. All the 10s are out, so we can be sure that nobody's hitting a 10 at least. I don't think we haven't seen the flop.
There is a flop on board, but we just haven't graphically shown it yet.
Yeah. My God, it looks like there might be a 10 on board.
A king 10 and maybe a deuce.
So I guess all the 10s weren't out pre-flop. Yeah. No idea what's happening now. The Kings is in there.
The Kings returned.
The Kings,
came back.
The Kings have been pulled out of the muck now that he's seen his flop top set. And yeah, we apologise here. We are having some serious graphical errors, and it's very hard.
Right, guys. Once it goes 6 ways, we just have a glitch in the matrix.
Yeah, I think that's probably what it is. It's just it overloads the system. And unknown hand bets river.
How much? Couple? 40. 40 ti dam.
Called by another hand. Jack 4 there, is it?
King 4 being shown down.
King 4 being shown down, yeah.
Which looks like top pair, no kicker. Yeah, and it's good.
I guess the Kings weren't in there after all.
Co ci powiem?
No.
Damą, przepraszam. Only call, I have a straight. occasion. Be careful.
Can we give chips? Chips.
Chips that you could I buy you chips in the shop, okay? Now, what do you want? Onion or salt or maybe paprika? What you want, I give you.
Yeah, at least. Alone.
So Merivan Hassan there is not going to play the ace 8.
You want chips?
Early-ish position.
Sorry, Paul.
Jack 9 suited folding is quite nitty.
Entschuldigung. Entschuldigung, nie przejmuję. Nie, no, Entschuldigung.
Looks like we're around the blinds here, Ray Wheatley giving it the Alex Foxen stare
Yeah.
before
This time
hitting
deciding.
55 with these 8s.
Ja wiem, że
Yeah.
masz na imię, I know.
He bumps it up.
Your name is Alexander, I know. I see the website, you know.
And
I just get the job done here. Paul Curran not interested in the straddle with the king 7 off.
yeah.
But never mind, you have a name, Alexander. Hello.
Only drinks for Spanish.
Thank you. You are a fortress?
Sorry?
Is it a fortress? Or
Yeah, I don't know.
So you can see there.
Under atmosphere counts.
Yeah.
GG.
Paul has clawed back some of his losses, but is still the biggest minus on the table so far.
You have a 7-3, 7-2, 7-9.
Ray is dip below the 70 now. So could
Yeah,
do
he's
better about
coming
it.
back towards respectability now. Just the 68% VPIP 9-handed.
Better than Vegas here, no?
Yeah.
Bratislava, Vegas.
Tak zwany strader. Strader, sztucer, Schweißschnitzel, nie wiem czy, I don't know. This is Austria Schnitzel, you know. Schweißschnitzel. Thank you. Beauty, wiem, Alexander. Strader.
Merivan won't be getting involved with the king 2 off.
No, and in fairness, he picked off that bluff nicely with the pocket 10s while we were sort of advocating for a slightly different line, particularly on flop. He actually decided his customer was more likely to be a bluffer and decided to just put his big boy pants on and station it off with the 10s, and he was absolutely right.
Yes.
But with the exception of that hand, we haven't seen a huge amount from him.
No, and sometimes when you are perceived as very, very tight at the table, the best way to get paid is actually to induce your opponents to bluff.
Yeah.
I remember John Eames telling me back at the start of my career that he actually liked to project a weak, tight image, because that meant that when he had that type of hand, he was more likely to get paid off.
Yeah. Nice. Little raise and take it here with the pocket 3s from Laskovic.
You can inform me now. It's okay.
I can tell you.
Obviously you had me. I still want to know what you had.
What did you have?
I had nothing. I had queen high.
Queen high.
What do you like?
Give me a guess on numbers in the main event, Dara. Obviously, the requirement is something in the region of 700 to hit the 500k guarantee. Or is that a festival guarantee and not a main event guarantee?
I believe it's a main event guarantee, and the speculation I've heard, I have no idea what this is based on, but the speculation is they'll be lucky to get to 500. So at the moment, there is the potential of a serious overlay. Some of the events have already overlaid. The Mystery Bounty overlaid. So yeah, there's a lot of worried tournament organisers wandering around.
So you're telling me I need to get on a plane?
Absolutely, yeah. And actually, our friend Connell, who who bussed earlier was thinking of getting on a plane back to Dublin, but now with the overlay looming, that makes it more likely he'll stay and fire more bullets.
Well, it sounds like some people across the UK and Ireland who obviously there are, in terms of time of year, it's pretty tough right at the tail end of the World Series where there's probably a lot of jaded folks out there. But it sounds like there is value to be had if you do have a way of getting to Bratislava or flying to Vienna and take the 45-minute journey down. It does sound like there's some value to be offered.
Yeah, there's quite a big poker community in Vienna, which is only an hour away or less than an hour away. So I think some of those guys will be looking at this and eyeing it up too. I was actually talking to Dietrich Fast in Vegas, and he saw my patch for this, and he was asking me about the festival, and he said he wouldn't normally travel for something this buy-in level, but I think if there's an overlay, he might very well change his mind and come down at the last minute. There are 2 fast flights on Saturday, which people might be tempted to max late reg.
It's funny you say that. I actually also spoke to Dietrich. We actually were both on that plane from Frankfurt, and he said that he was actually not planning on playing the event. He was planning on just coming down and having a sandwich by the bar near the event.
Yeah, I'm sure almost none of our listeners get that reference, but don't know if you want to explain it.
We'll just leave that one hanging.
We'll just leave it there. We love you, Didi. You're one of our favourite
We do
people.
love Didi.
Didi's great. Didi was one of the first people to buy my Poker Satellite book, but he insisted I give him a 50% discount. So I was quite tickled. I was tickled pink on 2 levels. First of all, that a high roller, somebody who was already playing high rollers, wanted to buy my book, but secondly that he was insisting on getting a tenner off. And I know he didn't just buy the book for show as well, because he sent me about 40 questions afterwards on Twitter. So I really worked for that tenner.
Speaking of books, Dara, obviously you're a man who has been pretty much churning out a book a year since Poker Satellite Strategy back in, I want to say, 2017 or something around there. What is next on the agenda? What form of poker are you going to ruin for everybody next?
Well, we actually have 3 ideas we're kicking around at the moment. One is I'm actually not going to name one of them because Barry's fairly keen that we'd be the first people to do it. But an obvious one we could do is post-flop ICM, because when we wrote the ICM book, it was the solvers weren't yet able to do post-flop, or actually they had just started. PO had just started, so there is a bit of post-flop ICM discussion in the book, but we could do a full book on that now that the solvers have advanced more. We've also toyed with the idea of doing one on spin and goes, since it's such a popular format and a relatively easy format too. You really just have to study 3-way and heads up. So those are 2 of the ideas. The third idea I'm not going to say.
Well, speaking of 3-way, it looks like we do have a 3-way party here with Logoyvisky opening up the 10s. Ray Wheatley obviously keen to VP it because I think he folded one hand there a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
Gets in there with the 8-7 of clubs, and now Paul Carr with a very legit squeezer, ace king off suit, pumping it up to 60. I can imagine we maybe have 2 callers in this spot, because Bogivsky shouldn't be going anywhere with the 10s, and then Ray gets the great price behind, so we could be going into a little spin and go, a little menage a trois here between the 3 boys.
Yeah, Ray has a very, very pretty hand, and shouldn't get him into too much trouble. I think Ray was beating himself up earlier about the 6s call, which was a little bit speculative. This is more justifiable.
Yeah, probably a little, but I think there's also spots where you can trust your read, and he decided to do that, and I think maybe there was other kinds of boards where he would have been able to sort of see through his opponent.
Yeah. Now this is the kind of situation where Ray doesn't want to hit a pair. He wants something stronger than a pair. Now
He's got a gutter, Dara, and he's wrapped all around with the 6, 7, 8 of clubs.
yeah, he's got a gutter, but he's drawing almost dead. He's drawing to a straight flush,
Yeah.
which is rather unfortunate. But He might be
Wise man
tempted.
Paul Carr to immediately pump the brakes here, not even firing a seat bet on this 10-6-6 texture.
Yeah.
He's going to do a small continuation bet now as a delay C bet, which I actually don't hate on merit. Obviously, we see he's in absolute tatters here against Wojewski, but I actually quite like this delay C bet.
Yeah, this is just to try and clear out equity. You know, if players have hands like Queen Jack or any two random unpaired hands that we're good against right now, but actually can hit the river against us, we just clear out and win the pot right now. But Bogajewski, after a little bit of Hollywood, will throw in the call. Ray gets the message. His gut shot might not even be good if he hit it, so
An ace and a king could be dangerous for Paul here. Fortunately for him, 3 of spades shouldn't get him into any more trouble. Opponent likely to check over. Hope that Paul is out there with a hand like aces or kings or queens that will now go for a value bet of their own.
yeah, Paul's in a tricky enough spot here now because he does actually have some showdown. He could have got called by diamonds on the turn. So he was trying to decide whether he should.
Now like Paul's trying to get like a hand like 9s or 8s to fold.
Yeah, he can go 2 ways. He can take a small amount of showdown here and check, but he's decided not to do that. Paul always takes the more aggressive action. We can see a lot of Hollywooding here. Once he gets raised, I think that's the end of the hand.
Do it.
He's basically just, yeah, as you said, he's trying to get something like 7s to fold. And he gets the news. His opponent is not folding.
Wojewski hoping that his opponent has something like aces or kings and might find the hero call here. Ace king would be very optimistic, it's got to be said, given this line. The check call, check shove line is very strong.
Yeah, the only thing he's beating is missed diamonds. So he doesn't have a diamond in his hand, but yeah, this would be a very optimistic call, I think.
Problem for Paul is it's only 95 more into a pot of a grand.
Yeah, this is true. So he only has to be good 10% of the time, but yeah, correctly works out. He's not good even 10% of the time here.
Good decision.
Yeah.
I think. I did couple of friends. I have a good card. Couple good card.
Queens. Queens.
Only pair.
Well, can I just confirm, you were talking about your book there before these guys rudely interrupted us with an interesting hand. You mentioned the top secret one. Can I just clarify that it's not on how to stall at poker, because Barry promised me that he would write that one with me.
Yeah, no, that's all yours, David, don't worry.
Poker stalling strategy.
Yeah.
I will finally reveal my entire box of tricks to the world, including the lesser known fight with the TD,
Yeah.
spilling a drink on the table so that you have to move tables,
Yep. I've seen them
breaking
all.
a card.
Yeah, I mean, some of these are
No, but here's
are
the
not
cool thing.
legal.
Breaking a card and then accusing someone else of breaking a card.
Yeah,
having a
so
fight
you have
with
an
them,
argument.
and then-
Yeah, I know. I've seen all
and
these.
then that proceeds
I,
to take
I,
minutes.
I don't condone these in any ways. These are these are definite angle shoots at best, outright cheating at worst.
and have never been done. They're just purely speculative.
Of course.
They've never been tried nor tested.
I was actually in Vegas recently, and somebody was complimenting me on how I wasn't stalling, and I pointed out I've only had clock called on me once in my life, and that was definitely an unjust call. So I think again it was a case of mistaken identity. People just think you and I are the same person. You are infamous for your stalling.
What's the longest amount of time you've ever taken over a live poker decision?
Legitimately, probably about a minute. I actually do act very quick, because I kind of subscribe to that think long, think wrong phrase or motto. I very rarely change my mind after the first 20 or 30 seconds, so I very rarely need to take longer than that. Oh, look at all these powerhouse hands out there.
Yeah, we're brewing for a big one here. Wojciechowski has opened things up under the gun with the 10s. Very understandably, Paul, with a very pretty ace-jack suited in the hijack, has just flatted. Obviously delighted to take the flop in position. Trying to seize that opportunity away from him with the 5-4 suited Slowick's in there, but now queens for Hassan on the button. This is going to look very squeezy, it must be
This
said.
looks very squeezy, but it is Merivan who's been super tight, so...
Wow, and even ace queen is behind
my
here in
God,
the
there's
small
so
blind.
many-
Obviously that hand shrivels up now to all this action, but that's a legit hand as well.
yeah.
This is very interesting. I expected to probably, even though Merivan has that image, I can't imagine Wojciechowski ever flatting here, so I think we might just be eventually getting it in between those two hands. Look at this, the cold call by the ace queen has juiced this pot up very nicely for Wojciechowski. I think there's no way we don't see him commit more chips now.
Yeah, this is the dream spot now for him. There's enough, it's already a big pot, 190.
Nice couple.
Yeah, I think you can just make it something around the 190 mark clean now yourself.
Yeah, reaching for raising chips.
Let's see what the number is. Looks like, no, it's a big raise.
Did I hear 495 there? 295.
295.
So
I might have thrown a little bit more wrap out, but you know.
yeah, I mean maybe he figures because Merivan Hassan is such a tight player that he definitely has something here and he just wants to get it in.
Yeah. And pretty gross for Merivan because when you're the guy who has that image,
Yeah.
you know the guy's playing back at you with a 4-bet, particularly when it's a 4-bet over the top of a flat to your 3-bet. It's so super strong. It basically feels like ace, king, aces, and kings, and obviously queens really do shrivel up against that range.
Yeah, and he's so tight.
When
Queens
you
is actually
have that image of yourself as someone tight who people won't play back against when
Yeah.
they finally whip out the 3-bet.
yeah, and queens. I mean, obviously it's a great hand, but it's probably towards the bottom of his range. Like you can't imagine he's doing this with too many worse pocket pairs, just given the way he plays in general. So
Yeah.
it's an interesting. He finds the fold. Wow, that's
Great fold, my goodness
that is
me,
an
what a
amazing fold, yeah.
fantastic fold.
I think he recognised that he was at the bottom of his range pretty much, and you know, very unlikely his opponent is doing this with jacks, 10s. That's a
It's
great
shown
fold, yeah.
a better hand and fair play.
KK win, thank you. Yeah. Great couple, thank you.
Very well played from Merivan, it must be said. Very good self-awareness, I think, is really what was key to that hand.
Yeah, if you are a tight player, you just have to recognise that hands which are very strong for looser players are actually towards the bottom of your range, and the other players are aware of how tight you are as well, so they're not going to get too loosey goosey with too many worse hands than queens.
Yeah, I think he rightly discerned that was aces, kings, or ace, king suited, and against a range with that kind of stuff, you're in very, very bad shape with queens. So a pot that promised a lot actually ended up being not as big as we thought, down to an absolutely fantastic read there by Merivan. Gets away, losing the absolute minimum. Chips saved in poker, or chips won.
David's on the stream.
Now, Ray Wheatley has been quiet for the last 4.5 minutes.
Yeah, I think his VPIP might have dropped as low as 60% to this point, so
Nice hand.
So defending a straddle here with the queen 10 out. Interesting board again. Dudes have not much to write home about, but the ace 4 with the nut flush draw and Ray with second pair and gutter probably not going to go away to 1-bet.
I think I missed it. I'll have to go and watch it later if you don't tell me now.
You can check, it's on live now. It's live now.
Oh, it's on right now.
yeah. Your hand has a whole lot of small bits of equity here. A weakish pair, but you've got a gut shot to go with it, but then a lot of your outs might be tainted.
Yeah.
You're not going to love a heart,
I'm shaking with this.
but as you said, he's probably going to have to hang on this street at least.
Yeah, it does feel like a mandatory kind of minimum defense frequency call here. Looks like Ray's carving at some raising chips, Dara. No, he's not. Sorry, apologies.
Yeah.
I thought I saw more of the greens. That would have been a little wild.
Okay, complete brick of a turn. So
Now, we've seen Alouette rarely slow down with these big draws, or obviously that ace-5 earlier, that big semi-bluff he pulled with the cold 4-bet.
yeah, this
Now
bet is
Ray's
kind
hand
of
does really shrivel up.
yeah. This bet is dual in purpose. He can get better hands to fold right now, but then if you get called, you still have equity, and you're going to like the fact that the pot is bigger going to the river. If you hit your flush, you're not flush at that. But
Well played by Ray there. I think it's pretty reasonable to hang on there on the flop. Some good things could happen, but having bricks
Yeah,
and
yeah, I think
facing another big
it's-
bet worked way nicely.
anytime you find yourself calling reluctantly on one street, you should probably fold the next street if your opponent keeps barreling, because it kind of indicates you're towards the bottom of your range.
If I raise, you fold. I was very likely to think you have.
So the two loosest players on the table there, with VPIPs of almost 50%.
I am always on strategy. I just saw my hands. I don't know.
Well,
So again,
straight back on the horse here. Alouette's going to open things up with the ace-2 suited under the gun.
yeah.
Mara, how are you? Oh, everything's alright?
The shirt is great.
Looks like Avramovsky has tossed in the 15 here. We're not sure what he has here in the cutoff.
Yeah.
I think Voskovic has also called with the 6-3 of diamonds on the button, but I like confirmation of that. No, we did lose Avramovsky, but we did pick up Voskovic.
Yeah.
We go heads up here. Backdoor diamonds are smothered here.
Yeah. They both have backdoor straight draws as well, but pot ends on the flop.
Couple of the win. Give me a couple, I win. When you don't give me, I lose. Give me a couple.
Can you name me a few other Irish who've made the journey or who are making the journey tomorrow, Darren?
I ran into Tanya on the plane over. Tanya Masters, the ladies ambassador for this tour. There's a ladies event here, I believe on Saturday, which KK Poker are adding 1K to. So that should be a good event for any ladies in the area. Who else did I see? I saw Phil Baker on the plane as well. And I think that might have been it. Not as many Irish have travelled for this as for some of the other stops. I think it's maybe just a little bit too soon after Portugal.
Voskovic pumps it up to 20 here with the 10s. Ray in the small blind getting a bit of a discount with the Queen 10-0. It's a test of his discipline here. It certainly feels like a hand you could speculate with, but it's cuspy.
Oh yeah, it's just like you're going to be dominated a lot here. You're out of position to two players. You're not going to feel good about hitting a pair. This is actually as good as flops get, the open ender. DC has a nut draw now.
Yeah, you can feel good about the robustness of his equity now.
Yeah,
Very
and the
least.
fact it's rainbow too means he doesn't have to worry too much about flushes if he hits his straight. So he will continue. And he's up against 10s, so he might actually get a free river here.
Yeah,
Whether
I was gonna say,
Voskovic-
unfortunately for Ray, if he does make his hand, he's unlikely to get paid by the 10s.
Yeah. Now after it goes
Door's
check,
open
check.
for a bluff now, Dara.
Yeah, absolutely. He can bluff here because his king X would play the check call game and check the turn, whereas Voskovic's kings would mostly keep betting on the turn. Yeah, I really like this bluff from Ray here. He has.
Yeah, I just want to point out that is a king on the river and not a jack, so
Yeah.
disregard that jack river. We did see it come.
Yeah. Yeah, again, we have a graphical error here, but this is a good bluff from Ray. I don't think it's going to work because tens is so high up the range, but I still do like, oh, it does work, wow.
Ooh,
So
nice.
it gets one true.
Good job, Alexander.
So with the sizing as well, maybe, you know, equally could have been a hand like Queen Jack or Ace Jack. Again, bear in mind it's a king on the river, so
Yeah.
it could have bet a strong second pair for the same amount, and I guess maybe that sort of merged him into quite a few hands that were beating the tens.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
it's
think as
not,
well, when you've got the pocket tens, Dara, which I think is crucial in that one when you're making your decision whether to call with them, you are blocking the Queen 10, which is the obvious draw. Now, if you happen to have it, but
yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So good, nice pickup there from Ray. The call pre-flop was definitely loose, but if you're going to pick up some equity by bluffing in good situations like Ray did, you can justify being wider pre-flop. So Slovak, having been probably the second tightest player at the table, suddenly picks up aces in early position. Hard to get action when you have that tight image and you're raising from early position.
yeah, we don't have a sizing yet. He may have limped, Dara.
Oh, you're right, actually. Yeah, that's what the graphics are saying. He limped. So
And he does probably have a customer now in the ace-queen suited of Bogojewski, who's in the cut-off and very likely to just isolate to 40 or 45 here.
yeah, although
Question
I
will
think
be
he'll
when
be
it gets back
suspicious.
round to him.
Yeah, you're right. He is going for the raise here. It looks like 40.
Yeah, and the question is, will Slowick just keep slow playing the aces? I'd actually quite like to see a flat, given that he's not that deep. You know, he can just like call here and let his opponent, you know, barrel off potentially.
Yeah, he's effective here with just 27 big blinds, so he wants to get
Yeah.
action as much. Oh, Paul's
Oh,
got.
but Paul Carr's got pocket queens right behind him, Dara.
Oh, this
This has worked out beautifully for Slowick and his slow play.
Yeah, this probably saves Bogojewski money now because his ace queen shrivels up.
We see all, we see.
Slowick's just sort of slammed it in there, having limped. He's now limp, cold four betting, if you like. And while Paul Carr will not love life when it gets back to him, he can't fold the queens for this amount.
Not
so.
for this amount, no. It's just a cooler for 27, 28 big blinds effective.
Yeah. What I would say is the play is very telegraphed as a strong hand when you limp and then are happy to go with it. But to his credit, Slowick kind of threw in the chips in a sort of a silly way, almost like, oh, I'm done, guys, I'm just gambling for my last chips. Not bad way to express yourself while putting those chips in, I have to say, to give him some credit. I want to keep off the impression that you're as gambly as possible, even when you've been a total nit.
Well, yeah, that's the only problem. I think when the nit at the table does that, I would be very suspicious.
Yeah. Oh my God, no!
Wow.
The ace queen is getting in here, Dara.
Yeah, I mean he is very deep against Paul, and he might think Paul is just squeezing.
Yeah, and I wonder if Paul's just going to seize on this opportunity to sort of think, well, I might be in trouble against Slowick, but I might get Bogojewski in.
Yeah, I think Paul can ignore
It's
Slowick
worse.
now, and just it's how he wants to play against Bogojewski, who is the bigger stack.
Yeah. And what a dreamy situation for Slowick that he's actually, you know, one of the queens is blocked.
Yeah. And
that's a decent board. Obviously, again, ignore the ace of hearts on our graphics. It is actually a king with the 9 of hearts and the 2 of clubs. I just think it's a 2 of spades, but anyhow.
it's it's hard to see. I think it might
Yeah,
be
I'm
the
pretty
2
sure
of
we've got a
spades.
king 9 deuce here.
Yeah. I think it's the 2 of clubs, actually. Yeah, it is the 2 of clubs.
There we go, king 9 deuce with the 2 of clubs. Well spotted, Dara. Well, that's not the flop Paul would have wanted to see, but I can't imagine into a dry side pot Bogojewski getting frisky here.
No.
These guys are probably going to check it down.
Another deuce rolls off, and that's a real brick. Like, nobody has a deuce here ever,
No.
unless it's pocket deuces, very rarely.
Yeah. Does Paul ever sort of recognize that his opponent maybe is bunched into the kind of pocket tens, pocket jacks, ace queen kind of portion of the range, given the way he's proceeded and actually try and pursue some small value against the tens and the jacks here, Dara, on the river.
Yeah, he could do. I have seen Paul make those kind of fairly thin value bets in the past, because again he has a very different image from Slovik here. And I think that's what he's weighing up here. But in the end he checks.
Give me one. Come on! Ladies and girls, thank you.
Slovik gets the full triple.
Full triple, yeah.
Really nice girl. Sorry for
Dreamy situation.
Yeah, very happy with himself.
I'm so
Manufactured a 1k pot from his 280 stack there.
Yeah.
Amazing work.
Yeah, and he only started with 500, remember, so he's actually well up now.
What is the problem?
I'm just asking, the hand's over.
Sorry for me.
Because when the dealer throws the camera over, it's dead, yeah?
In your show, no, it's not over.
Alexander!
I'm the one that wants.
Alexander, I love you! Oh my God.
Very interesting patch placement for Ray there. I don't know whether he put that there himself or Finton slapped it on his back as he was
I
passing.
think it's a Finton slap, to be honest, Dara.
Yeah.
Beautifully done there from Finton, very deft.
I lose. This is the problem. Oh my God, I lose.
He's so happy. It's wonderful to see how happy Slovak is there.
Give me a time.
When he calls, yes.
Give me a time. Give me a time.
My friends, Slovak, we are
Care. Give me a
2 hours into this, Dara, would you believe?
Yeah, Marivan lied to me. He told me this game was only going to go on for 2 hours when I came into the commentary box, but still playing.
They're trying to once and for all fix your jet lag, Dara. They think if you just stay up till 3-4 a.m, you'll be back on your normal time.
Yeah, the danger is I'm powering through now to when I'd normally be waking up in Vegas, so this isn't good.
I must say, I feel a little bit similar. It's a bad time to perk up.
Very, very bad time, yeah. But I have a late start tomorrow, so I think we'll be okay. Slovak getting a little bit splashy now, or maybe he just straddled actually. Yeah, he's just straddled.
Loving life there now, Slovak, after that.
Yeah.
What, more than triple up, 3.3x up.
He's got a
Finds
gut
the
shot
gutter
here.
ball.
It's a bad gut shot, but he can hit it straight in a couple of ways. He can also go 8-6, so that'd be the better way to hit it.
You have a problem. Maybe. You want or not?
Well,
How much?
more or less telling his opponent what he has here. He says, I have one card I'd like to hit for you to have a problem.
You want or
Yeah.
You don't
Do you want me to
I
go
see
plenty
for
of
your
hits?
face. You don't want. I have 10, 9.
Good shot.
2 gadgets. GG.
We take a look at the showdown stats. Am I loving getting to showdown? When he has a hand, he sticks around.
Well, he usually has
After
aces or
winning there.
kings, so
That's true too.
Well,
Abramovsky has 860 to good here, having won that early one. Bujevsky also black. And Ray Wheatley of a modest 55% VPIP now.
yeah, he's been all over the place today. He was as high as 80%, he was as low as 47%. He's settled on a 55% VPIP now. Definitely the loosest player on the table.
Next year
You are a really nice guy.
like
Sorry for me.
instead we give you some VIP package.
This is the guy. Really.
It might be mine.
Okay.
Could be mine as well, I don't know.
Thank you.
I don't know.
Give you for a drink. Thank you. Really thank you.
Slavic really is a larger than life character. He's engaging everyone in
He is,
conversation.
and I'm just wondering how his banter is being taken by Paul right now.
yeah, that's true. Paul is in the hole the most of any player at the table. I think the last thing he needs is an exuberant Slavic to his immediate left. But these are the prices you pay when you're an ambassador. You have to smile and just swallow that pain. Swallow that pain.
Slavic
Yeah.
throws his 2 arms into the air in victory.
Yeah.
Ilya, Sovieta, give me. Oh, man.
Yes, this is a real test of Paul Carr's.
Ambassadorial qualities.
Well,
Oh,
he hasn't given him a dead arm, so I think he's already doing a good
Oh,
job.
hello, good player.
Yeah.
Really good player. Yeah, really good player. When I see this casino, this is
The far less than dead arm of
the best
Vashkevitz.
good player. Alexander,
Putting more chips to work here. Three betting the king queen off. I like this. I like this hand choice as well.
Yeah, yeah, I do like this. Paul has a very playable hand. 10-8 suited. Kind of hand that plays very well multi-way.
Yeah, and a tester for Paul here, because obviously, you know, he's cold calling the 3-bet here, knowing that it could bring in a succession of calls, and he's got one of those hands that does like playing multi-way, as you said.
Yeah. Yeah, this is...
Very likely that slow it mucks the queen 7, but the 5-4 suited will suddenly really enjoy this price, as will the king 10 suited.
yeah, the 5-4 suited though is Hassan Maravan, who's been the tightest player, I think, on the table. The least likely to get involved.
So it hasn't released yet.
Now he
Maravan
releases,
contemplating.
yeah. As you said, it's a very tempting price, and most players would be tempted, but Maravan is playing a very cautious game. Doesn't want to get involved with the 5 high, even though it's suited and connected.
Well, our game's biggest winner, Avramovsky, looks like he's going to get involved.
Yeah, king 10 suited is another hand that plays very well 3-way.
Yeah.
So
Here we go.
here we go. Paul is
A
doubly
little bit pesky
dominated.
for Vashkevitz, who obviously was targeting that open, hoping to get heads up, and Paul Carr just sort of firing in the cold call, making life a little tricky for him to proceed, and actually flopping best here on the 8-4-3 texture.
Yeah, he was dominated by the king 10, which itself was dominated by the king queen, but he has flopped best, and he has a backdoor flush draw as well. And this is a board that's very unlikely to have hit the other players with the 4 and the 3. So again, true to form, Paul taking the aggressive action. Wants to clear out equity here.
Just a hint of backdoor here for Avramovsky. I don't think it's enough to get involved versus a bet and a call, but we will
Yeah.
see. You don't even love all your outs. Like
Actually, it's
you're
Waskowicz
really
a
in a
bet,
dark
yeah.
tunnel there.
Yeah.
Interestingly now, I wonder if Vashkevitz will put Paul on a hand like
Oh.
pocket 9s,
Yeah.
not pocket 10s anymore, but would he try and blow him off one of those kind of medium pocket pairs here? We see that nothing will work now that Paul has actually made 2 pair. Quick check, and
Yeah, Paul trap check
interesting
there.
one now.
Now he has to try, what's the best way to get value here?
Yeah, Paul can't be loving the 10-8 getting sort of counterfeited by the hypothetical jacks plus,
Yeah.
but does manage to get it to showdown.
What's your name? Alexander.
And yeah, a bit of speculation paying off there for Paul Carr, trying to be a fly in the ointment there.
You are right from Bratislava, yeah?
Born and raised, but
Give me a time. Give me a time, my friend. I'm sorry.
Action back on our biggest winner of the night, Avramovsky. Unlikely to get involved with the bad ace here in early position. Just let it go.
Yeah, I feel like his strategy after that early double was just to lock down to a large degree.
Skål över er, Pavel. Grandma. Yes, you saw.
In the seat right behind him, ace 9 qualifies now for Vashkevitz.
Oh, and Ray's got a hand here.
It's a little speculative, I have to say. I'm not sure I love this open with ace 9.
No, it's certainly on the loose side. Ray eyeing up the
If we had
stack.
some suitedness, I would certainly be happy with it, but I think offsuit it's a pretty raggedy one from early.
Yeah.
Ray Wheatley now with a clear 3-betting situation. He's going to make it 65.
Yeah.
And that should clear out all but the premiums behind.
Oh, but I
but
saw
there is
in
a
my
premium
rating for chips,
lurking.
and I immediately thought, okay, that's definitely a hand. He has been, along with Marivan, the tightest player. Ray's going to hate if he gets 4-bet here.
Yeah, I was going to say, do we just see a cold call to the 3-bet, or do we see a 4-bet, which would put Ray in the bin with this particular holding?
Yeah, looks like it is just a call. That should clear out the ace-9 now. It's just such a horrible hand, particularly 3-way.
Yeah.
Ace-9 suited, as you said, much different situation. You can try and flop a flush draw, but ace-9, terrible.
So Ray Wheatley will be trying to piece this one together. Obviously, will have Imai tagged as a fairly tight player. Will be worried about what his cold call to 3-bet range contains. Probably putting him on hands like tens, jacks, queens. He obviously has the jacks himself, so combinatorically that one's less likely. Maybe an ace queen suited, or an ace king that's playing kind of passively.
Yeah, because there was no 3-bet here, he's less worried about ace-king than if there had been a 3-bet. So
yeah,
he's beating a lot of hands here, like 10s, 8s, 7s, all those hands, plus stuff like ace-queen maybe, although Imai is so tight it's hard to imagine having too many of those hands. But now that he's gotten called, the alarm bell's probably going to often raise mind, thinking, well, it is a very tight player and he's much more likely to have the king than another player. But he is continuing to bet here, targeting hands like 10s, 8s. He's keeping the pot small.
Dara, when you have a villain like Imai in this spot, would you be more inclined yourself to check it over to him and believe him if he bets himself?
Yeah, that would be my preferred plan, I think. And now we're in a real dark tunnel spot. Maybe we can go tiny again and get called by 10s. And not get raised by a
like
king.
What Ray's plan is.
Yeah, that was the plan. Just try and keep it small. He bet 50 on the river. He bet tiny on the river. B10. Oh, he can't believe he's up against ace king. He's like, how do you have ace king and you didn't 3-bet me?
Yeah, because I genuinely believe that had Raven called 4-bet there, he could have made the hero fold.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Played, he kind of got roped into sending good money after bad.
Yeah. Yeah, straight onto his phone to bitch to his coach, I think.
Maybe you lost, this guy win only.
Well, we're getting word that this cash game has about 20 minutes more juice in it, Dara.
Okay.
So we weren't, we were lied to, but we were only like barely lied to. 2.5 hours of cash game action is a nice little dollop of the fun stuff, the fun late night shenanigans that take place in a poker room after all the tournament players are home in bed with their cocoa.
Yeah, so 20 more minutes we think to go. Assuming that they mean the stream is ending in 20 minutes, not just the game.
I will tomorrow. We will see. We will see. You play in my event?
And Ray immediately picks up another hand, ace king. He could look tilty now to the other players. He was visibly
But we play, okay?
discombobulated, let's say, after the last hand.
Yeah, it's great to use that image if you sort of want to accentuate that now that you have looked down at a premium.
Yeah, we've just had
Do your
clarification.
best. I'm steaming my balls off face now.
Yeah, incidentally, we've just had clarification. It's the game that's ending at 2, so the stream is ending at 2:30.
Why do they torture us like that with messages like that? Cara?
Yeah, and we don't even know that that's true because that's still 20 minutes in the future. Who's to say they don't decide to play on a bit more? But we will stay here. We will gamely soldier through as we watch Ray try to recoup some of his losses.
Looks like he managed to claw back $10 out there.
Yeah, that will be of little consolation to Ray.
My friend.
Gotta say, sort of, while you and I may have taken a different turn route in that hand. I do like the blocker on the river.
Oh yeah. No, I really like it.
I
You
think
can
that
get
was
value.
A good adjustment.
Yeah, you can get value, and you're not going to have to face a big bet. Yeah. The turn you could argue either way,
Oh,
but
yeah,
definitely the river
Alexander,
B10 is very nice. And we are focusing a lot on Ray for a couple of reasons. First of all, he's by far the most active player at the table, but he's also a very, very close friend of mine. Ray is somebody that I travel to tournaments with. He actually brought me up to Northern Ireland recently to attend a game. He drove me up there. So Ray is one of my closest
And you
friends in
survived
poker.
that journey, right?
I did indeed survive that journey, yeah. Ray is one of the guys I talk the most to every day about poker and enjoy hanging out with at live events. In Portugal, Ray was bringing me out for 2-hour walks in the morning, which, there's not many people who could walk for 2 hours in poker.
Do you remember when we first met, Dara? I used to be up for a 2-hour walk.
Yeah,
Not anymore.
yeah, absolutely, yeah. And Ray's older than
We
you, believe.
bonded over some 2-hour walks, and then
Yeah, we did.
entered into maybe the third year of our friendship. I was like, okay, I'm nixing the walk.
Yeah, and Ray's actually older than you, so it's even more impressive that he's still able to do the 2-hour walks.
Yeah, he also looks like he looks. He's a fit man.
Oh, he's a very fit man, yeah.
Falling apart.
Yeah. Maravan getting a little bit feisty here.
Nowhere to go for Ray here with
Ray.
backdoor stuff as well. Look at this, Tara.
Yeah, he's trying to get him to fold. Maravan will fold a lot here. I mean, we saw him fold queens
If he
pre-flop.
gets the fold, fair play, but I don't know he's going to.
No, top pair is just a little bit too strong, and it's basically button against.
Alexander?
Yeah.
With the backdoor potential, Ray does have 27% here, far from dead.
Yeah, and now he's dead.
Oh, that doesn't help though. Oh, and that's a little bit of a need.
Well, house against house, it's a cooler, really.
Good job, Alexander.
And Ray has made a fast departure, it looks like.
Siema, Alexander. Nara. Ty zjebany zboczeńcu.
So sad to see Ray go. He definitely livened up the game.
And again, just two random cards given to our graphics there, while we obviously saw it run out about.
Yeah.
While I'm sure Ray will be a little frustrated by how things went down, he provided us with a lot of entertainment and a lot of interesting hands to look over.
Yeah, I think Ray's the kind of guy who does beat himself up a lot, but I think when he looks back, he'll just realise how badly he ran these spots. On another day, he runs better and he leaves this table with 4,000.
Right. No problem, my friend from India.
Action falling all the way around to the blinds here. Looks like we might actually have a walk. Is that really what I'm seeing? No, I think we
Just got a message from Ray actually explaining why he bet the turn in the last hand. The reason why he bet the turn is his opponent checked out of turn.
Oh wow! Oh, that's that's annoying.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think his opponent did it deliberately, but yeah, that obviously he never thinks he has a king when he's checked out of turn. So
yeah, that explains a lot actually.
yeah,
that's very unfortunate for Ray.
Yeah, I think he just ran really bad today, Ray. Like, I really wouldn't beat myself up about this, Ray. You did play a very aggro style, but it would have worked out on another day. And if all else fails, just blame your coach.
But ace is win. Sorry for us. Ace is win. It's just that when you turn one over, like,
Yeah,
it's hard for him to have his. Yeah, I see.
As you
But,
turn it is,
but I see it.
Oh, I know.
So we did actually, as it happened, sort of end up in a battle of the blinds. I thought it was a walk because obviously the big blind was facing action, but we do have a straddle in, so that's why we still have cards.
Yeah.
9-6 has outflopped the ace-10.
Are you staying long one?
Yeah, so sad to say, as a proud Irishman, the two biggest losers in the game tonight are the two Irish. Paul and Ray both down approximately 1k.
Really?
Yeah.
This is an incredible situation. We can and break or we don't.
Ray will be in that 1k one day, or no doubt tomorrow, having backed up from day one. He has 100, maybe just slightly north of 100k. 11 players progressed through that 1A flight, so from the 40 to 100, so roughly a third getting through the flight. Sarah, was that the same for your 1B, about a third of the field?
I honestly didn't check, I have to say, but I assume so, because you know, same structure, exactly, same clock.
What was the starting stack?
40k.
Okay, so you did some nice accumulation there, 220k. You basically got a kind of a bubble stack.
Yeah, I actually dropped as low as 17k. Started pretty poorly, but then I got a spin going.
Be careful, my guy, be careful.
What time did you get into the casino?
Roughly 4 o'clock local time. I landed around 2:30 local time.
Says you can't stay quiet for 15 minutes. But don't say one
Wasted no time, so.
Yeah, everything is very close to each other here. The hotel is only 5 minutes by car from the airport and also the casino.
Give me 100, yeah?
No problem.
It's not long, so, yeah? I know.
Indian and island people and friends. Good luck and I love you. There's no problem for me. If you want, if you want, how much? I'm just kidding. Good luck.
Bugieski with the flush draw here
From Japan.
against the
Really nice guy.
very disconnected Jack 4 clubs of Alouette.
I don't know.
Hard for Alouette to find a way to win this one.
Can I?
What's your name?
Your name? My name is Konrad. Hello. Nice to meet you. What's nice?
Hello.
Carol.
Really? Your name? Carol.
Carol.
Carol. Carol. You know, Carol from Polish.
You have been saying I only for the last half an hour or at least.
Are loving life, right?
He's absolutely loving it. Yeah, loving the banter. You're down a grand in a what looks like a very soft cash game to you, and the guy beside you is full of the joys of life.
There's no sound on it, no? Just the right talking.
Finish, please.
And sing it.
Finish, please. Okay.
But staying disciplined, not getting involved with the 10-4 suited under the gun. Sometimes players chase when they're down, but
Blind. I was blind.
Paul's staying professional.
Race.
Check the
Race.
You went like
I don't even right, Alexander. 7-2.
75.
7-2.
Looks like Slowick is in here with the rather splashy Jack 9-0 from early. Ace King, much more qualifying hand from Hassan, has been 3-bet to 75, and
Yeah.
actually probably going to get all the way back round to Slowick here.
Yeah, you feel it will, because Hassan has been so tight, and this is +1 against +2. So okay, Slavic is
Here we go.
a little bit chip happy here. Check dark.
The two boys with the KK poker stickers going to battle this one out. Great flop here for the Ace King.
Looks like you might be going quite big here for this type flop. You generally want to go pretty small on this flop because it's just so dry.
Yeah. Looks like
gone for a third
55
pot.
sizings, we'll get a third.
Yeah, that'll get the job done. I mean, Slavic is Hollywooding a bit here. Holds his cards up so high. Maravan probably saw them.
Ask him to show. No, I have.
And
Have
Maravan's
on
pretty.
good authority, Paul Carr is actually on his phone there ordering up some headphones.
Yeah.
Really? Really? Last time, my friend. Alexander, last time.
Maybe I should shake.
Kings.
Sudden for me,
Shake.
yeah.
Check? No.
Don't bet top set.
Not
I like
so
big,
bad,
but
not so bad.
No, I don't have pocket king.
Set.
I have one king.
Oh, one king. One
You
king.
have 2 pair, not set. Have 2 pair.
But not
How
too
usual
much.
session so far for Mary Van.
I just shake back and wait for. It's okay.
We commented on his propensity for snug play, but actually it served him very well at this table.
It has served him very well. Yeah. He's up quite a lot.
What wrong? Sorry for me. Not right.
Massive Witch has pumped it up here with the 5-4 suited.
You stay 1 week.
Gonna attack these blinds.
How much?
Paul Carr makes a quick fold in the small and Slowish. Well, we're about to see if he is getting splashy now. 7-3 really doesn't qualify. Looks like he is going to toss in a call. So
Yeah.
he's gambling now, Dara.
Yeah, he has been drinking as well, and that sometimes loosens players up. That's a horrible flop for a man who's gambling.
Indeed it is, and not the worst flop at all for Vasovic, who obviously can represent that ace, and he does have quite a lot of backdoors going for him, so he has lots of barreling card
Yeah,
if he is to meet with some resistance.
Stoic has.
Oh wow, what are we seeing here, Dara?
Yeah, this is. I mean, he has 3 cards to a straight, but. Oh, that's an amazing card for his fellow Pole, because you would not expect him to be betting the 4. It looks. He was representing the ace, and now he's hit a very unexpected bottom trips.
Now,
And
all I can think of is that if Slowick is calling this flop with
Yeah.
absolutely nothing, is he got designs on making a move on a card such as this, which he thinks doesn't hit his opponent but actually has?
yeah, he might be thinking of trying to get him to fold an ace now by representing the 4, but his opponent has the 4, and he has absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
7
And
high,
I think Paul
no
Carr
pair.
has now seen his hand as well.
Yeah. Which is not helping Paul's mood much, I don't think. Paul's face is the face of a man thinking, how am I down a grand in this game?
I have give all straight call everything. But I not fold.
So he's talking to somebody, probably himself.
I don't like finish game. It's nothing. No
Having-
problem.
Having fun though.
Okay. Thank you, Alexander. This is good. You are a man, Alexander.
5-4.
Well, our big winner of the night, Abramovsky, might be able to
7-4.
finish with a little uptick here. Ace King and help him in that endeavour.
3-4.
Will he bring Paul Carr along with the Jack 7 of diamonds? Is the kind of hand I expect to see Paul get involved with actually out of the small. I do see him like those sort of somewhat connected, somewhat suited stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Paul does look like those hands.
6 bet 25.
Paul has flop second best here on the ace jack 6 diamonds. Does have backdoor potential. So a mandatory check call. Oh, and there is a diamond. So this one could get spicy. This is the kind of card that Abramowski might slow down on, Dara.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
And I wonder if that gives Paul reason to believe that he might actually be good here with the jack.
3 check.
Does he fire out a very small blocker, or does he just trust his read to go for the check fold or check call indeed if he thinks his hand could be good?
6 bet 8. 8.
Looks like he has checked and he's going to decide now.
Yeah, this is a check decide spot.
80 into 95, so chunky bet.
Yeah, beating missed clubs. That's about it, probably.
Yeah, and most of the missed clubs would probably have found a barrel on the turn, so I'm guessing now, Paul, just trying to weigh up how many of these like one pair ace-x hands would have taken a street out on that 10, and sort of ace-queen and ace-king do loom large as being likely. Does pay him off though, Dara.
Yeah, maybe a little bit
Abramowski
maybe a bit of
earning
frustration
that
there.
call in a way with the check back, but then of course he would have got called on the turn anyway with Paul having picked up the flush
Yeah.
draw. So
Yeah, I think he won the same amount in either line.
Paul,
do you think Paul can find the fold there on river? It seems like a close one. It seems like maybe he can.
Yeah, I think it's a close one, and you know, Paul's at the table, so you have to trust your read in those spots. And it's a spot where, like, often players will say, well, I felt I was behind most of the time, so I folded. But, like, you don't have to be behind even. You don't have to be ahead even half the time when you're getting that price.
Back at it now. Action folds around to Alawat, who finds the aces here late in the day. He has played one of the splashier, looser styles, but has the goods this time. Will he find a way to get paid? Paul Carr happy to flat here with the 7s after cut-off Imai also flats with King 10. That's going to bring in everybody here. 9-7 of diamonds, 6-5 of diamonds. I can't see any of these hands finding the muck, to be honest. So aces going 5 ways, not what they would have wanted.
No. One of the 7s is gone for Paul as well, so he's drawing very thin. Rufus smile there from the aces. Maravan's open-ended here.
In the head, but maybe not for long. Open-ender for Hassan. Maravan obviously thinking to himself, I'd quite like to see a free turn card. I don't know if the aces will allow it. They won't. Ace of clubs in hand as well. Good reason to try and bet and thin this field.
Yeah, Paul's going to hang on with his 7s, which could be the best hand right now, and also has backdoor straight draw.
Yeah, I like that as well.
And then Maravan
7 should hit them up, but I think Maravan can absolutely come along here. Obviously, we'll be fearing that his club outs are dead, but he does have some very clean outs.
Yeah, and he's getting an even better price. Yeah, getting a better price now that Paul has called. Oh, what a cooler!
Oh my God, what a card, Dara!
The one outer. Paul.
The one outer that Paul makes a set on, and Alawat still has a redraw to the nuts. My goodness me!
And Hassan has the nut has the nut straight.
Yeah, that is a wild card for our dealer to find right there.
Yeah, absolute cooler there.
Now, everyone will be fearing, even though everyone picked up something very nice, everyone will be fearing the flush right now.
Yeah, the flush. Flush is very problematic. Ace is checking back to confirm he has the ace of clubs, presumably.
Yeah, which makes this a mandatory call. I think he fears that he is behind right now, but is getting the right price to draw to this nut flush.
Yeah, yeah, he'll sometimes have the best hand here. Not very often, but sometimes. And he does have the nut draw, so he won't be going anywhere.
Big pot now, 5-10 in the middle.
Yeah. And
the
it
brickiest of bricks.
Bricks out.
Every player with reason to believe that they could be good right now.
Yeah. And very good check back from Paul there. Did not value bet his set.
Very good check back.
Yeah, very good check back. I think he knows his customer there. He feared Merivan.
Yeah, straight and flush possibly looming. Paul recognising the relative value of the pocket sevens had shrunk up actually.
Yeah.
Even though they turned their set.
Jesus Christ? Ah, Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, very unfortunate for Paul, but he stayed disciplined and lost the minimum there.
Yeah, very well played.
It's an important skill when you're a professional to lose less than other players when you get coolered like that.
Yeah. And it was a tricky spot actually for everybody on the river. Not really anybody with enough hand to pursue value. When you go three ways, very likely someone does have the flush there, so everybody kind of hanging on grimly in a way.
Yeah, even Merivan with the straight wasn't loving it.
5 minutes to decide, then you're in a spot. And this one you like snap 105, you're like, okay, maybe you have something huge only.
But river, I should bet like 100.
You should not change the way you play. I think even if you want to flat it, you just have to take your 2 minutes at least before taking any decision. Every action is an information, right?
Oh, you sleep.
But yeah, I was behind him also, and if he's reaching 105 into that, 110.
Slowick here.
I was not sure about my hand.
Gonna bump it up on the button with the Jack 10. Makes it 25 to go. Fine defend here from Pajskovic with the King Jack dominating.
Yeah, they both have a good shot.
Both men flopping gutters.
Yeah, a king high is good. Slovak also has a backdoor flush draw.
Both players with just enough to continue here, but no pair for Pajskovic.
You just hit on the flop.
Brick of a turn, so does Slovak want to keep bluffing here, figuring he definitely doesn't have the best hand with his jack high? Yeah, that's what he's gone for.
Recognising that he can pressurise quite a few Queen X holdings here. He's in there with the Queen 8. It's an uncomfortable spot now already.
Yeah, and he can definitely get King Jack to fold, I think, and he does.
Nicely done from Slowick. Credit to him. Obviously, we've commented on how his game has sort of loosened up as the beers have been imbibed, but that was quite a nifty bit of hand reading there. To find a way to win that one.
Yeah, yeah, and his gut shot shriveled up in value with just one card to come.
After his flat, I was not that great.
So had he got check raise there, he wouldn't have been giving up too much.
Hit the nuts on the river.
For anybody joining us late in the day, welcome to the Bratislava Poker Festival 2024. This is a cash game stream sponsored by KKK Poker. The $5 blinds, and I am joined by Darrow Kearney. My name is David Lappin, and I will be in the booth all week actually for a medley of final tables. The 1K, 1 day final table will begin tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. We're going to have some main event action over the weekend as well. There might even be a high roller in the mix. And I think actually another cash game stream possibly on the cards too at some later point. We will have to see. The schedule is a moving feast right now, but we will be pumping out the content from this YouTube channel. So if you like what you hear, just Smash that like button, smash that subscribe button. You'll get notifications of all the streams over this 4-day festival. 5-day festival as it actually is. 4 more days. 4 more days? What day is it today, Darren?
Thank you. My friends will scamble. Sorry for me. Good luck.
3 more days.
Wygrałeś? Z nim? Malutki? Dobrze.
We see Alouat getting involved here. Flopping best in the 975 texture. 2 hearts.
You know?
Vaskovic.
This guy, no, this is a player.
Rather short right now, only 190 back in his stack.
Good job.
Yeah.
Good job. I know it.
Yeah, I think he should be
Looks
happy
like-
to get this in now.
He's gone for a small kind of clicky raise, am I right in saying?
Yeah, it looks like it's 135. I think I heard the dealer say 125. So
Now, I'm virtually certain that there are more chips. I think there may have been a sneaky top up that we didn't catch on the
yeah,
graphics.
yeah, that could
Because
be right.
there's at least 2 stacks of 5s, which are 100 each behind. So
Yeah.
I think he does have
Yeah, you're right.
a fair bit more. 100, 200, probably about 250 behind actually after that raise. So I think he had actually topped up. Apologies there, guys. We're not catching. Obviously, in a cash game environment, these guys can put chips down on the table. I'm sure they're informing their fellow table mates, but maybe we're not catching it.
Can I please beer?
As we burn the midnight oil here in the Card Club Casino in Bratislava.
Yeah, we have been
Engrossing
told
stuff.
that
Yeah.
the stream will end in about 20 minutes. So we're in the final stretch now.
So just one more espresso.
Did you say espresso?
Espresso.
Espresso. Good.
Espresso.
Espresso. The tightest player on the table, bar none, has picked up ace queen in early position.
I love you, but I must fold.
And it looks like we're down to 7-handed
Oh,
now.
player in
I think
India,
Bogoyevsky
no?
has also left the game.
Creepy.
Yeah, and Slavic walking away too.
Yeah.
Not sure if that's just to get another beer though.
Yeah. The ace queen has 2 pair here. The 10s has a gut shot, a pair, and a backdoor flush draw. So he's going to continue.
Yeah, sticky from Alouat.
Yeah, against this opponent, very sticky. I mean, he didn't even bet a king on a king high board, so seems like his betting range might be 2 pair plus.
Yeah, he might has a lot of hands to target. Obviously, he's behind 10 jack, but that is literally it.
Yeah.
King queen is a lovely one to
No,
target.
he very
Does
nearly check
check.
back. He might get a bluff here now out of Aklavat.
Pro experience.
Oh wow! Look at that, Dara.
Wow. He's blocking Jack
Over
10,
bet.
so he's just
3x
like,
the pot.
yeah. I think he.
This is a little wild from Alouat. Interesting spot to put your
I
opponent
think he's
in
trying to
now.
get an ace to fold. His opponent has 2 pair though.
His opponent can beat some value.
Yes. Oh, is he? He looks like he's reaching for the fold here.
No, he surely can't find a fold. Like 10 jack is obviously the hand that he's worried about. There's literally no other hand it can be. given the
Yes,
action.
correct. It can only be. He can't. There's no 2 pairs or well, maybe king queen. That's about it. But yeah, he does call in the end. And
Very good call in the end. Obviously didn't love life and took his time over it, but in the end finds the right decision. Never comfortable. It's very easy for us there. Never comfortable facing a 3x pot bet. You always want to think about those. Pots.
oh yeah, for sure. And another player departs. Aklavat along with Ray Wheatley was the loosest player on the table.
You have 5 stacks on the table.
You are the host.
I don't think this game will go much longer now. Currently 4-handed.
Okay, we stop at 2 a.m.
A little bit short-handed action. I don't mind commentating on that.
2 a.m. 2 a.m.
Maybe Paul Carr can spin back up now, get himself back into the black for the second.
Yeah, I think Marivan's in a bind here as well. He really doesn't want to play four-handed, but he is the...
He knows he'll break the game if he goes.
Yeah, and he's the guy in charge of KK Poker, so he feels an obligation to keep the game going.
You can start it if you want.
So what you're saying is, if I leave with all these chips that I've won tonight, my brand gets no more exposure.
Yeah, yeah. Bit of a Sophie's choice there. I'd say Carr would love to play this short-handed for a while, though.
Absolutely. Licking his chops, I'd say.
Yeah. Against the two tightest players, actually probably the three tightest players at the table.
Yeah. Dreamy spot for Paul, because Slowick's gone, and I think he was wrecking his head.
Yeah. Now we're going blind here because we don't know what the board is or what the cards are. Okay, we've got Jack 2 suited and Paul.
Just using some aggression.
Yeah.
Although I have no idea at what point he put those chips in. It might have been after he picked up an open ender.
Possibly, yeah. Yeah. Oh, Slowy's back.
Full beer, full stack, full tilt for Paul Carr though.
Yeah, you can almost see the steam rising off Paul there.
No problem for me.
Last 15 minutes, you might as well.
Last 15 minutes? You want?
I felt like Mary Van turned to Paul there and said, "Do you want to keep playing?" And Paul hinted at he would have to be dragged out of this place.
Come on.
Yeah.
Be dragged away from this game. No. He might, with the best of us, little does he know. He decided to put some chips in the pot now that he has turned the flush draw. We see that that will end matters pretty swiftly.
Fold! Not goal! Fold! Not goal!
Slowick again, looking for some TV time here.
Gift for you. On the bottom of your show. Okay?
So, Sarah, I'm going to make a sort of a narrative judgment of the past couple of hours. It's been a very successful period for the tight players.
It has been, yeah, and that's often the case. The tight players can just sit and wait for very good spots, and if they don't get unlucky,
Yeah.
you know, with no ante, we alluded to this at the start of the game. It's a big difference between tournaments and cash.
And if I had to pick a hand of the day, I think it would absolutely, without doubt, be that Mary Van Queen's 3-bet fold to 4-bet.
That was a phenomenal fold, yeah.
It really was a good fold.
Chips. Can't you let chips for you, Alexander. For you. How much?
King 4-3, 2 spades. Looks like Paul's small bet will get the job done here with second pair. And this is where I think Paul will come into his own. Short-handed, going to open things up pretty wide, I think. Cut off and button. Use position, use aggression.
No, we stop at 2 a.m. again. stopping at 2 a.m.
Co, mówisz, że co?
Because it's a break free.
Zakończymy zaraz, tak? Czyli co, zaraz kończymy, tak?
15 minut.
Bo już jest koniec streama, tak?
You can still play later if you want, maybe, but we break maybe. No more break free.
Sorry, you can buy a beer. You don't have a beer, yeah?
So, in case any of you are picking up the same hint of feedback that we are, it's either Paul Carr or Mary Van, both of whom have their phones on the rail. I think they're watching back the stream.
Oh, that's what it is.
You're
Yeah.
getting-
Yeah.
You're having the experience of double Dara or double David
Yeah.
right now.
It's very alarming to hear our own voice 30 minutes in the past. I thought, first of all, I thought it might be myself, that I might have opened YouTube by mistake. And then when I realized it wasn't, I accused you of having done that. But it's actually somebody who's watching it is now feeding back to us through their microphone.
Yeah, I think it might be Paul there. He does have his phone kind of lurched upwards on the rail. I think he might be watching back the stream. Trying to get a bit of info, obviously, on, as he's well entitled to do, on some of the home things the phone had, maybe one or two spots that he didn't get to see
Sorry,
at Showdown.
give beer all.
All casino.
Al casino.
No, all time. No.
We're very much winding down this stream. You can tell it's sort of entering into its end phase. So we're going to try and end with a flourish though. Pocket tens. Looks like there is a straddle on by Paul Carr here. So let's see how this proceeds. Laskovic does make the call with the speculative 9-8 here in the small, and Paul going to get involved, I'm sure, here with the King Jack. So three ways. The ace 6-6, two club board. King of clubs in Paul's hand, just a little something. Pocket tens not loving the ace on board. 8-9 obviously drawing pretty thin.
Paul picks up a
has
gut shot here.
Missed everybody this one.
Yeah, Paul picks up a gut shot. Paul generally doesn't need much of a reason to bet. If he gets anything, he tends to fire in these spots, which is actually a very good strategy. Like if the flop checks true, players usually don't have too much, and you can just bet. And even if you get called, well, you could hit your 10, or your king might be good, or your jack is actually good in this case. Again, the aggression there from Paul wins him the pot.
Yeah. And I think, we've already told you guys, and it is true, this game does break in the next 10 minutes or so. But my goodness me, does Paul Carr want to stay in a short-handed game with these guys for a while?
Yeah.
I feel like
Yeah, absolutely.
it's a great spot for him now.
You won't give me.
What did you have?
Please give me. Two ten.
And what was
But in the floor.
Two more beers arriving to the
Yeah,
table.
Slavic clearly hasn't had enough beer yet.
Slavic's only had literally a mouthful of the last beer,
Yeah.
and now there's a new beer.
Yeah. I think he knows the game is breaking soon, so he wants to make the most of it.
Yeah. Laskovic free betting the Jack 10 suited. Nice candidate.
Paul Carr, to
Gonna
his
try
immense
and
frustration,
lean on
finds
Slavic here.
a 10-3 that he has to fold.
Yeah, and here we go. Decent sized pot brewing here. 160, 3-bet pot. Ace is there. So Slowick going nowhere. Jack
Yeah.
10 of hearts has the gutter and the backdoor hearts. Going to certainly continue betting with the lead.
Yeah, could also hit it straight by going 8-9, so lots going on for the Jack 10 there.
Bear in mind as well, we think we have a incorrect count on Boskovic, so I don't think 185 is what he's got left.
Correct, definitely.
Slowich just shuts it down with a shove here.
Yeah.
And shows his hand before
Oh,
the
wow.
player responds.
No, I.
Really? is like really crazy situation.
Nie, i tak nic nie miałem.
Okay, so
Powiem ci, że to zaczynam cię lubić.
giving away the debate there. I don't think there would have been any other outcome. So I don't think showdown would change anything. We're going to see him call it off with the Jack 10 suited
Yeah.
in any case. So, but helpful to know that your opponent definitely wasn't bluffing.
True.
Sorry for me.
And I think Paul's face summed up what he's feeling there. How am I losing in this game?
Well, Dara, I remember now you and I presiding over a cash game, I want to say in the Hilton Talon, the Patrick Antonius event that was there a few years back.
That's right, yeah. Oh, I know where you're going with
Really
this, yeah.
went off the rails after quite a few of the players had drunk some beers.
Yeah, that's right. I believe one player who was leading the main event with 13 players left came to play the cash game and got so drunk he had to be helped away from the cash game. But he was up
Yeah,
chunks.
having done about 50k as well in it.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, in fact, we were joking that he was going to have to win the main event tomorrow to get out.
And I think that is what happened. I think he borrowed future winnings from that main event to keep himself in that cash game.
Yeah, indeed.
Rather bizarre. So little would people think there's two, I'm going to go with esteemed poker commentators who normally preside over tournaments because that is their forte. Darrow Carney and David Lappin. The last time I can remember us doing a cash game together, it went off the rails.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Give me a free win, a free wine, okay?
Norwich with the 10 jack suited here. It's a very playable one. You go
Yeah.
four ways, 180 in the middle. Everyone's got a little something something. Jack 8 5. Not exactly sure of suits yet.
Yeah, I'm not sure why the graphics think Voskowitz is 41% with his ace 10. We can see the board is Jack 8-3 or Jack 8-5. Sorry, Jack 8-5.
Yeah, I think that's still the pre-flop stats.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Jack.
In any case, we have, there we go, Jack 8-5, two clubs.
Yeah,
And
Mervyn
actually-
can pat himself on the back now for folding the 9-8 middle pair.
Yeah. And Slowick does pick up a nice little pot there, went four ways though, 180 to the good.
I think this is a nothing. Last time, I think, first time, we have a
So, last
cooperation.
2 or 3 hands here for you guys.
With all. Okay? No problem. Okay, great, my Viking. You are really beautiful girl. Sorry for me. Sorry for me.
Why sorry?
Really?
Struggle
Sorry?
10
Why sorry?
is
Because,
on.
this is a really nice girl.
Polkar on the button with the King 6 suited. I feel like he's going to have a go with this. This is the Brian Kim, is it?
Give me a moment.
King 6 club specifically.
Alexander. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. Because
You mightn't have seen that punt actually, Dara, did you?
we love.
No.
Play or love? Play or
In the main
love, yeah?
event.
Finished in 5 minutes.
You want? You want?
Which one was this?
No problem. For you.
I can't remember who opened, but Brian Kim on the button. 3-bet the King 6 of clubs.
Oh no, I didn't see this hand.
4-bet 10s, and then he went 5-bet shove over the Lena 4-bet with the King 6 of clubs. Lena probably called the 10s. He was obviously in great shape.
Crazy situation.
In any case, Paul Carr gets to be in position against the man he would want to be playing against this one. Slowick with absolutely nothing yet. Being allowed to see the full run out.
Fold.
Paul's King High will be good. He's just given up.
Yeah.
Just handing him the pot.
Let's be honest.
I'm not gonna bluff this 7 high, and I assume you have better than it.
Do 5-10 for last time.
You win or
Where-
not?
where
You
we
win
want
or
that?
not?
Okay.
Okay. Or
It's not the one.
there's trouble.
Okay, 5-10. Free
Nice
hands.
bump bluff there.
Shannon? Maybe.
Last 3 hands.
Hey, maybe
That's
we
3
are-
hands,
So last
Paul
hand
is
being
saying.
announced, and I think Paul's trying to get some straddles on, isn't he?
Nothing. Oh, we play. No?
No, soft hands.
So straddle is on. Is Paul going to do the double straddle if he does the triple straddle? Is that what happens?
I can. This guy. What's the problem?
Is he straddle? That's straddle.
Okay, I think because our graphics are bound to not figure this one out. I'm pretty sure
Play or no?
they've made it 5-10 for this hand,
Play.
and now
Or fold.
is it a bomb pot they're trying to negotiate?
Is that a straddle?
It is straddle.
This is a straddle.
So that's a straddle to 20. Okay, so they basically turned the game into a 5-10 game with a 20 straddle.
Go.
Yeah.
Go, give me friend.
And Paul Carr has raised it up to, yes, 50 or 55, which would be 9 off. Yeah. They're keeping us on our toes here, Dara, at the end of the night.
My friend.
Yeah. I'm not going to lie, I have no real idea what's going on here, apart from they all seem to have put money in pre-flop.
Well, interesting spot now. Slavic makes the call with the king six of spades, and a very squeezable, shovable one actually for Vaskovic with the ace 10, given how kind of loose and sloppy this has gotten. Wouldn't be surprised to see him send it.
He just
No,
decides-
just let it go. Wow. Kind of surprised by that actually.
He might put money in, which we haven't said too often tonight. With the jack 10 off,
That
so
hand in the muck, and the 3 speculative ones are in there.
yeah. So top pair, only Paul has a diamond. Slavic has absolutely nothing, and he's tended to just give up with his nothings. So I think Imai and Carr will contest this pot.
Yeah.
No, Slavic has made a liar of me. He's going to take a stab here without a diamond or a pair or a straight draw.
Yeah, and after Imai makes the call here, I think Paul can't really feel good about his random 9 diamonds dangler.
No.
Probably just gets out of dodge.
No, he has to think a lot of the time there's a better diamond out there. So
I only less time.
yeah, good discipline fold from Paul.
Less time.
Whereas if Slavic doesn't take that stab, I feel like Paul might get to see the run out. Anyway, as played, Imai hanging on with his top pair, gooder ball. Probably feels like his hand is best now. Might throw out a little value bet.
Yeah.
And Slavic would be
He does throw out a single chip bet.
mad enough.
Yeah, his cards are. He likes his fist pumps.
Yeah. And good day's work from him, it must be said. I think he started with the grand and he's up to $2,000 now, pretty much.
Yeah, no. As you pointed out, the tight players have done very well here.
He picked off
Which is often the case in cash games.
Overbet move.
Yeah.
That sort of was half his foils today. See there the V pips. 41% for Slavic. It really has ramped up. I think he was much tighter in the early going, but it's been a sort of a kind of a number of beers to ratio of V pip increase.
Yeah, his V pip is in proportion to his blood alcohol levels.
No, I don't want to win. I love happy.
Paul Carr now with the king queen. Definitely going to be involved. Can't see this not getting to a flop.
Carr is trying to work out how much chips Slavic has because they're rather messily stacked, if at all. In
Just going to
fact,
put him
I
in.
for you.
Putting him in, I think this is like straddle against bigger straddle.
yeah. He decided.
He's trying to get him to do a blind call.
Is he trying the call?
No, he's and according to our stats, he has quite a
What you
lot.
want, I give you.
What you want to give you? Okay, so I don't think we've looked.
Okay.
Well, hang on a minute. There's no way Slavic has 725 there. I'm trying to eyeball this stack. It looks much more like 400.
Oh my goodness. Cool.
Oh, here we go.
And they have the same hand.
They have the same hand.
Show.
Bit of an anticlimax.
You show.
Paul has 2 flush draws. Paul has the backdoor flush draw now. But that ends it. Chop it up.
Good job, my friend.
But Paul's face says it all.
Yeah,
Crazy
yeah.
situation, crazy. We win all. Thank you.
What can I say?
I do have no. But again, oh, okay.
But not with this. Last time, Melvin, for this part.
Last time, okay.
It's the last time.
My friend, last time, my friend, last time.
Not one of the last time, bro.
Last
If I
time,
put it
if you
Last time,
you go to home,
Before you
go to home. You go
What
to
do you think the
home.
chances of Merivan V-pipping here
I
are
love you, my
in this
friend,
setup
my
now?
friend. I love
that
you.
to do.
Yeah, well, there's some free money if you do wake up with a hand, one feels.
Yeah.
Jack 8 does not qualify.
Jacket definitely doesn't qualify.
Ah,
Yeah. You have fun.
Imai is out. So it's the two boys again.
Yeah.
Paul Carr with the Queen 5. Looks like
Nips
he
in.
just called.
Come on, my friend.
Super in
from
check.
Thailand.
Players walking away. So this is the last bit of action we will see tonight. Paul Carr is good right now with the Queen High.
Yeah, can maybe represent the ace.
Feels like it might be an anticlimactic end.
Yeah, he can represent the ace here because Slavic would have raised had he had if he had an ace.
And you bet. For what? For what you want?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh wow, he's calling with the gutter here.
No problem. I go.
Gooder. Oh,
I not want.
we're going to have fireworks if the 4 ball comes off. That's all I know.
Problem for
Yeah.
you.
Oh, the 3. Slavic
Check
doesn't.
back the nut low. We're almost the nut low.
Yeah,
You win
yeah.
or not? I think
Paul
you not.
is very relieved to win that pot, I think.
Yeah.
Relieved.
Well, look, on that note, guys, these guys are going to rack up their chips. It has
job,
been
my
an
friend.
interesting day of poker. We covered the $500 mystery bounty earlier in the day. That one, of course, was won by local man Martin Ivlaski, who I thought played superbly well on that particular final table. A huge thank you to Darrow Kearney for joining me for the later stages of that one, and of course for joining me for this, what ended up being a 3-hour cash game session with these guys splashing about, it must be said. Some good poker, victory for the Nits really when you look at the bottom line of it. Avramovsky got that double up early and kind of locked up a little bit. Imai played very snug, ended up with an 840 win, and in the end Hassan hooks a nice win as well. Unfortunately for Paul Carr and the departed Ray Wheatley earlier on, those guys did not fare quite so well. We will be back for another stream tomorrow evening. Darrow Kearney is going to jump into the 1K one-day event here in Bratislava, and I am fully expecting you not to be in the commentary box with me tomorrow evening, Dara, but actually at the table.
Hopefully, David. It's been a pleasure as always. Thank you everyone who tuned in.
Take care, everyone.